Chapter 136. Within the inn. Shao-Chi paced back and forth, thinking about what he should do. The trip to Marshall Path Mountain disappointed him. These few people weren't the Een Demon's match, and they might even become their food. He didn't care and just left Jiang City, acting like he didn't face this matter at all. To be honest, this method was indeed very good. He could leave without anyone knowing, and in the end, only a few people would know that he had been here. As for what would happen to Jiang City, it had nothing to do with him. When something huge happened, naturally someone would deal with it. No. As the crown prince of the imperial dynasty, how could he have such thoughts? However, he had no choice. Resources were limited, and he didn't have many experts by his side. If he knew that such a thing would happen, he would have brought more experts by his side, and it wouldn't have been so problematic. There was an intense battle in his heart. All of a sudden, he found it tough to choose. Should he give up the city and leave? The aristocratic families of Jiang City disappointed him. He was the crown prince of the imperial dynasty, and no one came to welcome him. He was even staying in such an inn. If this was in other cities, how could this happen? Of course. He was just grumbling about such a situation. Your Highness can actually reveal your identity and let the Jiang City aristocratic families work together to gather experts. Even if you don't wipe out the Een Demons, you can protect Jiang City and form a threat, such that the Een Demons retreat. That would be a success. White Brow looked at the crown prince in deep thought, and one knew what he was thinking about. Shao-Chi said, "The idea you mentioned is what I thought of just now." White Brow blinked. "Your Highness, can you not do that? If you really thought about it, you wouldn't have hesitated for so long." "Your Highness is intelligent, I respect you." White Brow praised. Chen family. Chen Xingyao's life was quite comfortable. There was one less person in the family, but there weren't many changes. The 3 experts he recruited were great, and they gave him a sense of security. At that moment, Manager Yu brought Shao-Chi and White Brow in. Manager Yu bowed and bent his knees, and he was showing signs of licking his boots. Chen Xingyao was drinking tea in the courtyard. When he saw Steward Yu bring a stranger in, he was a little displeased. Was he the one in charge of the Chen family, or was Steward Yu the one in charge? No matter who it was, they had to at least inform him. "You didn't even inform me and brought people in. Do you still have any respect for me, the young master?" It seemed like it was time to establish his own dignity. Although 2 wealthy merchant families in the city had been wiped out, he did not panic at all. In fact, he was even grateful to the murderer for killing them well. At this moment, Chen Xingyao's face was cold. Just as he was about to reprimand Steward Yu for not following the rules, Steward Yu quickly ran to the young master's side and muttered in a low voice. How could he not know the young master's personality? He would definitely scold him in front of outsiders. But the current situation was not right. These 2 strangers were not ordinary people. They were big shots. Even if the master was here, he would have to kowtow to them. When Chen Xingyao heard Steward Yu's muttering, his expression changed slightly. His eyes narrowed, a sign of shock. "Oh my God, this is the eldest prince of the Central Dynasty. My mother, father, open your eyes and look. My Chen clan has welcomed the crown prince." Instantly, Chen Xingyao hurriedly got up and knelt on the ground. "This commoner Chen Xingyao greets your Highness the first prince." Chen Xingyao was temperamental. He might have smiled at you, but in the blink of an eye, he could take your life. But that was to normal people. If you let him test the crown prince's temperamental personality, maybe his head would be removed right away. Chen Xingyao was bad, but he wasn't a fool. Who he could offend and who he couldn't did he not know? "Get up, I am traveling around Jiang City, and don't want to reveal my identity. However, I have something to do, so I can only reveal my identity to you. However, your Chen family has to keep it a secret," Shao-Chi said. White Brow sighed. "Keep it a secret? Jiang City Prefect, Marshall Path Mountain, and Chen family already knew, so what was there to keep it a secret? Just make it public. Yes, don't worry, Your Highness, my Chen family will keep it a secret. If anyone dares to leak it out, I will teach them a lesson, Chen Xingyao said. Chen family's identity wasn't clean, so they weren't treated well. That situation of being looked down upon was really uncomfortable. But now, a chance had appeared. If they could get close to the crown prince, then they would be able to soar. Their Chen family would be able to wash themselves clean and walk to the peak of life. However, all of this needed hard work. Your Highness, please take a seat, Chen Xingyao invited respectfully. Their identities were switched, and he was more like a servant. Shao Qi said that he didn't need to be polite, but his body was honest. This kind of treatment was more like the style of a prince. When Chen Xingyao learned that the crown prince was actually staying in an inn, his expression changed. He cursed that he deserved to die. How could he let the crown prince stay in such a place? He immediately ordered manager Yu to leave the most luxurious room for the crown prince. Li Tsong witnessed everything. He didn't expect young master to suck up to him so well. Manager Yu was really happy. He thought that young master wouldn't be able to support the Chen family, but it seemed like he was wrong. Young master's actions towards the crown prince was enough to prove that the Chen family wouldn't fall and would instead become stronger. Even if old master was here, he definitely wouldn't be able to do what young master did. Shao Qi had a good impression of the Chen family. They knew how to conduct themselves, and he was satisfied. He told Chen Xingyao about the culprit of the recent murders, and for the first time, Chen Xingyao knew what the Yin demon was. It sounded a little terrifying, but the crown prince said that he wanted to get rid of the evil, to solve the Yin demon problem in Jiang City. He didn't hesitate and unconditionally supported the crown prince. In front of the crown prince, he ordered manager Yu to increase the bounty and find experts to help the crown prince solve his problems. His Chen family was willing to give up all their wealth for the crown prince. Shao Qi was satisfied. This was a loyal subject. However, looking at the current situation, they were still weak and didn't have the ability to fight the Yin demons. Shao Qi continued to head to the other aristocratic families and merchant families to persuade them. He had to travel a long distance. However, he wasn't tired at all. He felt good, like he was telling everyone how responsible he was as the crown prince. For their matters, he went all out to persuade them. Not long later, everyone in the city knew about it. The crown prince of the central dynasty came to Jiang City to deal with the culprit who killed the two merchant families. It was undoubtedly a huge boost to the hearts of the Jiang City people. The commoners cheered on the street. Those who were prepared to leave Jiang City to find a way to live all returned home. To them. How could they leave? The crown prince was here, so what did they have to fear? Their Jiang City was totally safe. Chen family banquet. Shao Qi was in a tough spot. I just wanted to solve this matter behind the scenes, but I didn't expect everyone to know about it. I don't want such a situation. Chen Xingyao said respectfully. The first prince has shown mercy to Jiang City. How can we remain silent? The people of Jiang City will remember the first prince's kindness and never forget it for the rest of their lives. Hayes, brother Chen, is joking. As the crown prince, how can I not do anything? Forget it, why do I have to remember it? Shao Qi waved his hands. He said it like it was true. He went to the various families in the day to show his identity. He just opened his mouth and said that he was the crown prince. That would scare them so much that they would worship him like he was their ancestor. If too many people knew about it, he wouldn't be able to hide it. Moreover, he didn't want to hide it. If no one knew how tough it was for him to do such a huge thing, then what was the point of doing it? It would be better to just leave quietly and save a lot of trouble. Huang Boren was at the banquet and stared at Chen Xingyao. This fellow actually knew how to suck up. He really didn't expect it. In his heart, Chen Xingyao was such a person. He could be strong, but he couldn't act strong in front of him, otherwise he would slap his face. He was arrogant and had a violent temper. But looking at the current situation, there wasn't any shadow of the past Chen Xingyao. He was just a bootlicker. Looking at the surrounding merchants, they were the same. They were all sucking up to the crown prince, saying that they would support him. If he had anything, they would ask for it and they wouldn't delay it. Huang Boran wasn't such a person. No matter how noble your identity was, I wouldn't suck up to you. Young Master Huang, you and young Master Chen are top families in Jiang City. I hope that you can put down your grievances and cooperate with me to solve this matter. Shao Qi said. Huang Boran cupped his fists. Since your highness has spoken, my Huang family will naturally listen. Don't worry, your highness. I believe that under the leadership of the wise and mighty his highness, this matter will definitely be resolved perfectly. How fragrant. It felt really good to lick. To lick someone with power, one wouldn't know if they didn't lick, but once they did, they couldn't stop. Good, although Jiang City is far, I have sensed your heart. Very good, very good. Shao Qi nodded his head in satisfaction. Martial Path Mountain. In the secret room, there were many low roars. The 16 Yin demons suffered physical and mental injuries. The human in front of them loved to stab them. He stabbed them so crazily that black blood flowed out. He also loved to use words to attack their minds. Some Yin demons couldn't take it and cried out like they were in a frenzy. Lin Fan wiped off the black blood on the blade and said calmly, "You don't have to be afraid. I don't have any thoughts towards all of you and have no ill intentions. However, please cooperate. At least before you are of some use, I won't abandon all of you." Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 222. He had nothing to do now, so he exchanged his insights with the Yin demons. Raise them. He had to raise some Yin demons. These Yin demons were really friendly and cute. Especially when they bared their teeth and revealed their sharp canine teeth, they were just too cute. It wasn't early. Maybe he could continue to act tonight. But it was a little dangerous. Within the room, Lin Fan looked at the fruits of his hard work. Rage points, 19610. A decent number. His martial path cultivation could increase once more, that was great. He spent 1,800 rage points. He raised his physique to 270, and his physique cultivation reached the peak of martial path grade 9. Power surged in his body. This wasn't internal strength but physical strength. See, it hurt. Suddenly, he felt like his body was about to be ripped apart. There were bugs crawling in his skin, and it looked really terrifying. This was something that had never happened before. What was going on? Could it be that there was a problem somewhere? Chapter 137. Pain. Pain. Damn. At the start it was waves of pain, and now it was intense pain. That pain was tough to bear with, like his body was being burned by flames. Small bumps appeared on his skin like something was crawling under his skin. Did a bug enter my body after spending so long with the Yin demons? Lin Fan bore with the pain and used a knife to cut open the small bubble. Poochie! The bubble burst, boiling blood flowed out. The blood was really hot, the temperature was really high. What was going on? The temperature of the blood was so high, could he still be alive? Didn't he just raise his physique to peak grade 9? Was there a need to do that? See. He thought that if he persisted for a while, it wouldn't hurt, but it was obvious that this wasn't a pain that would disappear. Pooh. His skin tore open, boiling fresh blood flowed out. Lin Fan's back was drenched in sweat, his heart filled with fear. Did something really happen? If he knew that this would happen, he wouldn't have been prepared to cultivate and have a good life. Why did he have to find such a troublesome matter? He couldn't think so much now. For such a situation to occur when he raised physique meant that his body was raised too high. There was nothing that could support such a strong body. Maybe that was the reason. Refresh. Mixed energy broken jade hand cleared the realm. Unmovable king body rose to returning to true realm. In an instant, the pain gradually lessened, and there was a wave of inner energy in his body that was feeding back to his body. This is the internal strength cultivated from unmovable king body, it belongs to physique. Lin Fan felt another type of internal strength appear in his body. It was obvious that it was the internal strength used by the unmovable king body. Like a balloon, it swelled up a lot, but if the air within was sucked dry, the balloon would shrink. This problem didn't appear in the past. It was probably because his physique hadn't reached a certain level. There are some problems with the previous arrangements, I have to rethink it. Lin Fan adjusted his mindset. He thought that cultivation was simple and could be completed with rage, but now it wasn't so simple. If he didn't cultivate any cultivation technique and just raised physique and internal strength, there would be problems. He had two types of internal strength in his body. One was the internal strength of the purple sun for Saint Scripture, and the other was the unmovable bright king body. These two types of internal strength were different, one focused on the inside, the other focused on the outside. They had nothing to do with one another. But they were all nourishing his body. To prevent any accidents from happening, he decided to upgrade the purple sun for Saint Scripture. This cultivation technique was not bad and should be a top-notch cultivation technique. What assassin! What had he missed out? It was all bullshit. He knew that his father had left it for him. Now that the purple sun for Saint Scripture was at grade 10, he needed 2,000 rage points to raise it. At a point, purple sun for sacred scripture, 11th heaven, purple sun for sacred scripture, 12th heaven. He raised it all the way to grade 14, spending 8,000 rage points. The inner force in his body was strong, so it should be very safe. Increase inner strength. Internal strength, 270, martial path grade 9. It was very smooth, and nothing unexpected happened. His physique and internal strength had already reached the peak of the 9th rank of the martial path. On the contrary, he only had 810 rage points, which were instantly cleared. However, the mixed elements broken jade hand had once again become unlearned. It was truly regrettable. His combat strength was slightly weaker, and the strength of the refreshed points was once again weakened. Perhaps it was sending a signal. Want to become stronger? If he could, he should cultivate a few more cultivation techniques. As for not relying on adding points to cultivate the mixed elements broken jade hand, stop joking. Which one of those cultivation techniques didn't require many years of hard work to succeed? He didn't have the time and energy to do so. Or was it that the demons weren't fun and wanted to cultivate? He sat cross-legged and started to calm down the restlessness that came from his strength increasing. This was the first time he was seriously cultivating. It was worth praising. Wolf Brigade. Since the bandits here were wiped out, it became really dark and terrifying. The demons lived in the forest near the Wolf Brigade. Because of their arrival, the forest changed. The trees grew thicker. They covered the sky. Even in the day, the sunlight couldn't shine in. It was dark, sinister, and terrifying. At that moment, a terrifying sound spread out from the forest. Then, there was a rustling sound as something appeared in the forest. In the pitch-black forest, a red light shone. Many demons came out from the darkness. They crawled on the ground and roared out viciously. A stone coffin was really eye-catching, but it was really simple. It was just pieced together from a few pieces of stone. At that moment, the stone coffin shook, and small pieces of stone fell off. With a pring, the coffin was opened, and a thick black mist spread out from within. This black mist was much thicker than the other demons. Damn humans! A demon stood up from the coffin. This demon was different from the others. It was 3 meters tall, and he had 4 pitch-black arms. A long tail hung from his spine. This tail seemed to be made of black metal. The surrounding demons retreated. They were afraid of the demon in front of them. In the demon world, there was a hierarchy. Normal demons like them didn't have coffins to sleep in. They could only dig a hole to bury themselves and come out at night. King, I will teach these humans a lesson. The big demon opened his mouth. His voice was thick and hoarse. He then turned into a black fog and headed towards Rivertown. The small demons followed closely behind. They were going to eat people. Following the big demon, no one could stop them. They felt that their lives in the East Forest of U City weren't good. They were forced to sleep for 20 years, and when they woke up, they weren't even given enough to eat. Some brothers went out to eat 1 or 2 people, and then they were attacked. They didn't dare to fight back, and even the king was beaten until he was injured. However, things were different now. They moved to a foreign environment. Moreover, they were close to a human city. Their lives were really good. Eating and drinking was really good. Of course, demons didn't only know how to eat. If they all headed out at once, then how long could the people in the city eat? How long could the people in the city eat? Only by eating slowly could they eat for a longer time. Chun Manor. The fan-holding scholar sat in the courtyard and drank wine. He looked at the moon in the sky. It was really beautiful. He waved his fan casually. It felt good to be an expert in Chun family, and his salary was high. The key was that the crown prince of the imperial dynasty was in Chun family, and that gave him hope for the future. If Chun family could tie the crown prince to them, then as helpers of Chun family, they would be able to rise, and their status would rise to a certain level. The moon is really good, and I really want to recite a poem. Unfortunately, I will wear whatever I lack. The fan-holding scholar shook his head and smiled. He was illiterate, but he wouldn't tell others. That was because his style and aura gave people a feeling that he was a cultured person. A gust of wind blew over. It was a little cold. The scholar frowned. Why did he feel a little cold? Suddenly, he noticed that a shadow on the stone table was getting bigger and bigger. This shadow was moving, and it seemed a little vicious. He was shocked, but he acted like he was calm. Just at that moment, he rolled and opened his fan. Shwa shwa. A few thin needles shot through the air and struck him, giving out a crisp clanging sound. He smiled. If he was hit, then he would die. There was a really strong poison on it. However, when he raised his head, his pupils constricted like he had seen a ghost. These things, Poochie. Chen Xingyao was in a good mood. He drank alone and occasionally smiled. He felt that his luck had come. The crown prince staying in the Qin family was something that others wished for. During the banquet, when everyone learned that the crown prince was staying in Qin Manor, their eyes turned red. Damn! Why didn't such a good thing happen to them? It was actually taken by the Qin family. Was there any justice in the world? If they brought the crown prince back, they would definitely treat him like an ancestor. They even thought of a plan. They would get the crown prince drunk, and then let their daughter do something with him. They didn't ask for much, just being a concubine was enough to bring glory to their family. If the crown prince had a special hobby, they could personally do it to make the crown prince happy. Chen Xingyao was thinking about finding a few beauties to accompany the crown prince. But Manager Yu said that women weren't attractive to people like the crown prince. Unless he could find the most beautiful woman in the world, could he? Of course, he couldn't. If he randomly sent a few normal beauties over, it would cause the opposite effect. Suddenly, he saw a black shadow standing outside the door. Who is it? Chen Xingyao asked. He didn't reply, but the shadow was still there. He got up and thought that something had happened. But suddenly, he stopped and searched for a weapon in the room. Wait, I am wearing my clothes. I will be done soon. Wait, don't come in. Very quickly, Chen Xingyao found a sword that was specially used to kill servants who didn't listen to him. He held the sword and didn't open the door. He pierced through the wooden door and stabbed the body of the person outside. He kicked the door open and didn't even see who it was. He ran to the courtyard and shouted, Save me! Save me! At that moment, he looked at the person who was stabbed. It was the scholar, an expert that he had just recruited. From the back, there was a long crack on his back. The crack opened and one could see the white spine. However, there was no flesh and blood at all. A black mist surged out from the scholar's body. Damn! Damn! Chen Xingyao was so frightened that he peed his pants. What was that? Why was it so terrifying? He raised his voice and shouted with all his might. Save me, come save me. Someone charged out from the courtyard next door. Young Master Chen, we are here. The short guy with the hammer and the guy with the flying guillotine ran from both sides and protected Chen Xingyao in the middle. What is this? The short guy was shocked and didn't dare to believe his eyes. He had never seen such a weird thing. There were weird things attached to the house and walls. Let's go, let's head to the Crown Prince. Chen Xingyao rushed. In another place, Li Tsong and manager Yu hid under the bed and shivered. The two of them were talking about how the Chen family would go in the future. They even said that they would do anything for young master to ensure the prosperity of the Chen family. Even if they had to give up their lives, they wouldn't hesitate. But now, **t. It was best to be alive. Chapter 138. Your Royal Highness, not good. When Chen Xingyao and the others ran to Shao Qi's side, they noticed that there were demons here too. There were many of them. Many of the guards by the prince's side died. Only that white-browed man was really fierce. He held his spear and fought with the demons. An eye-catching light exploded out from the spear and stabbed through a demon. With a sizzling sound, the demon's flesh and blood started to evaporate before falling apart. It laid powerlessly on the ground and didn't move at all. Shao Qi acted like he was calm, but in truth, he was panicking. Demon, were these demons? He had only seen portraits of them, but he had never seen them in real life. Now that he saw one, that was completely different from a portrait, all right? If he returned to the imperial dynasty, he would teach that artist a lesson. What did he draw? It was so terrifying. Protect the prince. Chen Xingyao came to Shao Qi's side. He opened his arms and blocked in front of him fearlessly. The hands of the two helpers were trembling. This was the first time they faced such a thing. All of a sudden, they didn't know what to do. Chen Xingyao said, Your Royal Highness, follow me, I will bring you to a safe place. No need, as the prince of the imperial dynasty, no matter what danger I face, I won't take a step back. Today, I will fight to the death with these demons. Shao Qi straightened his back. His gaze was sharp and he didn't fear the situation in front of him at all. Actually, he wanted to leave too. But he knew that this place was the safest. As for leaving with Chen Xingyao, what a joke. Did he have any experts beside him? If I follow you, I won't even know how I died. What are you talking about? Chen Xingyao wanted to leave, but since the prince didn't, what else could he say? Okay, I will accompany the prince to fight these demons to the end. Help me, as long as we survive this, I will give you all rewards. Chen Xingyao said. White Brow's expression was solemn. He didn't expect the demons to be so bold and actually charge all the way here. An extremely bright light exploded out from the spear and killed another demon. He looked towards the prince. He was under huge pressure. Not only did he have to kill the demons, but he also had to protect the prince. All of you are useless. You have to use lightning and pure yang elements to hurt them. They won't fear normal attacks. White Brow hollered. The person playing with the flying guillotine beside Chen Xingyao used the flying guillotine to pick off the demon's head. However, the demon's head turned into black smoke and grew back once more. Ah! The flying guillotine expert was dumbfounded. Brother, what are you talking about? Thunder attribute cultivation technique? Yang attribute? I don't really understand what you're saying. I'm just playing with the flying guillotine. Once the flying guillotine is used, I'll split my head. As for what you're saying, I really don't understand. On the other hand, the short man with the hammer was very fierce. The hammer smashed the demon viciously onto the ground. The friction between the hammer and the ground caused sparks to appear, causing some damage to the demon. The demon cried out and retreated into the distance. In the future, your monthly allowance will be raised to 500 taels of silver. Chen Xingyao was overjoyed. He did not expect this short man to be so amazing. He gave him a lot of hope. Then, he looked at the girl playing with the flying guillotine. It seemed to be saying, "How can you be so useless? Look at how powerful he is." Suddenly, a scream spread out. Chen Xingyao shuddered. He saw the short man being grabbed by a few demons, torn into a bloody mess. His organs were all dug out. Damn. I just praised you and now you're so useless. That was just so embarrassing. The short man cried out. How did this happen? He was already injured, so why did it become like this? No, I was just passing by, it has nothing to do with me. The face of the guy playing with the flying guillotine was ashen white. This exceeded his expectations. This wasn't something he could go up against. He didn't say anything at all. He just ran outside. Don't run, don't run. Chen Xingyao was filled with despair. Why are you running, didn't you pay? Come back. The demons cried out and then chased the guy. Not long later. Screams spread out. It was really tragic. Chen Xingyao covered his eyes in despair. Did it end just like that? At that moment, a demon struck towards Xiao Qi. Xiao Qi stood on the spot and didn't move. It wasn't that he didn't want to move, but the situation made him so terrified that he didn't know how to move. Your Royal Highness. White Brow struck and killed the few demons that charged over. There were too many of them. He couldn't be distracted at all. But no matter what, he wouldn't let anything happen to His Royal Highness here. Your Royal Highness, let's go. White Brow grabbed Xiao Qi and wanted to leave Jiang City, to let the innocent civilians become cannon fodder to escort His Royal Highness away. Suddenly, White Brow's expression turned serious. He turned around and stabbed forwards with a spear. A tail stabbed over and clashed with the spear. Pung! Expert. There was an expert amongst the demons. He was finished. The big demon appeared. He grabbed a leg and bit it in his mouth. The thick tail landed on the ground. Human, stop resisting, let me eat you. The big demon said with a sinister tone. White Brow protected in front of the prince and said warily, Demon, you are so bold to actually dare to kill people in the city. Do you know who is behind me? The demon in front of him was really strong. Moreover, his form was different from other demons. He was one of the stronger ones. It was okay if there weren't other demons around, but there were many. If they really fought, he wasn't confident in protecting the prince. The big demon's red eyes spun. Oh, someone important? Scoff, this is the Imperial Dynasty Crown Prince, Xiao Qi. If you dare to hurt him, you demons won't have a place to stand. I think you should think about it. As long as the Imperial Dynasty experts come, you will have nowhere to hide. White Brow hoped to use the identity of the Imperial family to suppress the demons. This was their only hope. Ha ha ha, Prince, I haven't eaten before. People without strength, no matter how high their status is, we demons don't fear them. We will eat them. The big demon hollered. The climbing demons charged towards them. Chen Xingyao was so frightened that he peed his pants. Oh my god! Was Chen Xingyao going to die here? No. He still wanted to live. He could only follow closely behind Xiao Qi, unwilling to let go. At least that White Brow had to protect the prince, and he would be dragged along. The battle was intense. Demons crazily attacked, giving White Brow huge pressure. Especially that big demon who would occasionally attack like he was playing with prey. Not long later. Pung! White Brow was smacked by a tail and flew backward, smashing into the wall. The wall cracked and was covered in spider patterns. Fresh blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. The spear in his hand fell to the side. Human, you aren't strong. The big demon gave a playful smile. Bullsh *t. White Brow looked on coldly. That dog, using the prince to restrict him and distract him. This big demon wasn't weak and sneak attacked from all directions. How despicable. Prince, I can't protect you anymore. White Brow said. Shao Qi held on to White Brow. It is okay, you have tried your best. If I die, the imperial dynasty will take revenge for us. He knew that there was no hope. Rather than crying out in pain, why not face everything head-on? However, his heart was filled with sadness. He died just like that, for no reason at all. Chen Xingyao sat on the ground. There was no life in his eyes. Damn. He was going to die. The big demon slowly walked towards the three of them. The delicacies tonight were a little rich. The meat of an expert was fragrant, the blood was sweet. It was a huge supplement that could increase one's strength. Suddenly, a voice spread out. Wah, so many demons. Cousin, you have to work hard tonight. And? Which bastard killed so many demons, what a waste. Cousin, I told you not to wait, but you didn't believe me. His tone was filled with complaints. On the roof, Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao appeared. They waited outside the city for a long time. They didn't find anything. He was a little anxious. He noticed that the Chun Manor was a little lively. Didn't that mean that the demons came to the Chun Manor, and that there was a huge battle? He didn't want too many demons to die. Those were all good things. He directly brought his cousin over. As expected, many demons died, what a waste. Lin Fan hugged his blade and jumped down from the roof. Zhou Zhongmao followed beside him. He looked at the demons around and locked onto the big demon. Sect leader Lin. Shao Qi looked at Lin Fan and was delighted. Maybe there was still hope. Don't worry with me here, you will be fine. Lin Fan said. White Brow's eyes were swollen. He squinted and looked at Lin Fan. The two of them weren't enough to deal with the demons. Save His Highness and leave. He only hoped that he could save Shao Qi and leave. Suddenly, a demon charged towards Lin Fan under the instructions of the big demon. You are asking to die. Zhou Zhongmao opened his fingers, grabbing the demon's head and smashing it onto the ground. Lightning flashed in his palm. With a purring, the demon didn't even have time to cry out before turning to dust. Cousin, stop killing, there is one less. Lin Fan felt pain. Didn't he know that his cousin needed demons? He even had the energy to kill. Cousin nodded. He couldn't take it and attacked. Lin Fan counted. 1, 2, 3. He turned around and looked at White Brow. You are amazing, a total of 32 demons, you killed half of them. There are still 10 left, amazing. He was really impressed. Your demon is interesting, 4 arms and a tail. It seems like he has some status among them and is worth me studying. Lin Fan's eyes were shining as he looked at the big demon. The big demon felt that something wasn't right. The way the human looked at him was a little weird. It was like how the demons looked at humans, like they were looking at their prey. Little ones, eat him. The big demon hollered in rage. The remaining 9 demons hollered in rage and struck towards Lin Fan. Lin Fan slowly placed his palm on the handle. When the demons appeared above him, he squatted down. He pulled out his blade. He closed his blade. Shwa shwa. Pung. Pung. The demons fell to the ground. Each of them had wounds on their bodies, and there was lightning internal strength wrapped around them. When speed reaches a certain level, you won't even be able to see the blade. Lin Fan said calmly. P.S. It's the last 3 hours. Please give me some monthly votes. Gentlemen, please. Chapter 139. His posture was really handsome. White Brow and Shao Qi's mouths were agape. Sect leader Lin was so strong? Shao Qi really didn't dare to believe it. When he learned that Martial Path Mountain only had 6 people, he was extremely disappointed in Martial Path Mountain. But now, Sect Leader Lin was really infuriated. Weak, really weak. Since you are so weak, then you should be well behaved. Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao took out a rope from his waist and tied up the 9 demons. Some struggled, but Cousin slapped them silly, unable to fight back at all. Amazing, Sect Leader Lin is amazing, I was wrong. Xiao Qi said. He really was wrong. What a joke. How quick was that blade? He didn't even see the blade just now. With a schwa, the terrifying Yin demon fell. The big Yin demon stared at Lin Fan. Human, you. Lin Fan raised his hand to stop the big Yin demon from speaking nonsense. He raised his head and said, Yin demon, your mysteriousness makes me tempted, don't destroy it in my heart. Your mysteriousness attracts me, to pay respect to it, I will let you see my blade. At that moment, Lin Fan slowly pulled out the blade and then tossed the sheath into the air. He opened his arms and the blade tip slowly landed on the ground. Everyone looked at the blade sheath that was spinning in the air. A voice rang out in their hearts. When the blade sheath landed, a miracle would happen. Pa-ta! The blade sheath landed on the ground and gave out a sound. Just at that moment, Lin Fan disappeared from the spot and struck with his blade. Mountain River Move. Lightning blade 4 strokes, first stroke. An eye-catching blade glow exploded from the blade. The surrounding air shook like the mountains and rivers were shaking, affecting the space within. Pung! The big Yin demon raised his hand, a thick black mist gathered in his palm, his fingers pinching the blade. My saber isn't something that just anyone can pinch. Lightning blade 4 strokes, second stroke, gold jade shattering. The blade energy exploded, its strength increased. One blade smashed the big Yin demon's palm and then it slashed towards him. The big Yin demon blocked with its 4 arms. The thick black mist turned into a physical form and clashed with the blade. The blade light scattered. The strong blade energy was enough to slice everything. This strong blade energy didn't leak at all, it was all gathered on the blade. This was the effect of upgrading the Thunder Blade 4 styles to return to simplicity. There would be no overflowing saber chi. Bang! Bang! The big Yin demon wasn't weak. His 4 arms and tail blocked quickly, so fast that only an afterimage could be seen. Not bad. Your sense of mystery matches your strength, but it's far from enough. The third move, Shock of Gods and Ghosts. Lin Fan growled. Poochie, the sound of his muscles expanding could be heard. The hand that was holding the knife seemed to have become a size thicker, and he instantly disappeared from the spot. A gust of wind suddenly rose in the courtyard. In everyone's eyes, the blade light around the big Yin demon had already covered him. Blade energy was all around like a ghost was using a blade technique that didn't exist in this world. Lin Fan's figure had already disappeared. It was as if the indistinct saber light was his figure. It was getting faster and faster. Lightning blade 4 strokes. Each stroke consumed a terrifying amount of energy. But to Lin Fan, he didn't feel tired at all. Each stroke was his strongest stroke. At least for now. He had already lost count of how many times he had slashed. To prove that his blade wasn't something that anyone could casually pinch, each stroke used his strongest strength. After 81 cuts, pung! There was a deafening explosion. The saber light dissipated. The wind and the phenomenons also dissipated. Lin Fan appeared. He stabbed his blade into the ground, his hands behind his back facing the big Yin demon. I still have one more blade that I haven't used, but you have reached your limit. I am a little regretful. Lin Fan said calmly. He was really handsome. Xiao Qi's mouth was agape. He was so strong. Even Zhou Zhongmao was astonished. Cousin was so strong. If he knew that Lin Fan was already a peak grade 9 expert, he would know that there was a reason why he was so strong. The big Yin demon stood there and didn't move. Suddenly there was a crisp sound. Only to see that there were many blade marks on the big Yin demon's body. Each mark was the length of a thumb, not short nor long, it was just nice. The big demon knelt on the ground, his limbs drooped, and he fell into endless darkness. At the same time, he saw that the big demon's tail was covered in wounds, there were numerous blade wounds on it. Cousin, so strong, Zhou Zhongmao said. Lin Fan closed his eyes. His head was a little dizzy from all the spinning just now. So uncomfortable. But he definitely couldn't show it. Shao Qi and the others didn't dare to make a sound. It was really quiet as Lin Fan's impact on them was too huge. He thought that he was just a useless sect leader, who knew that he was so strong. If he didn't personally witness it, he wouldn't dare to believe it. After a long while, Lin Fan still felt a little dizzy. This should be the first time he used it, so he wasn't used to it. It was best if he returned to the mountain. Let's go, Lin Fan said, letting cousin bring the demon away. When they reached the door, Lin Fan thought about how he didn't take the blade, to return and pick it up? What a joke. Blade, come. Lin Fan waved his hands, the blades stabbed in their buzz. With a crisp xiao, it flew towards Lin Fan and entered the sheath. Slowly, the two of them left into the distance. A demon was stuck at the door. Only to see that demon knock towards the door like someone was using violence to drag it. Pung! Pung! Black blood flowed from the demon's head. In the end, he was finally dragged out. Shao Qi reacted and wanted to chase, Sect Leader Lin. Your Royal Highness. White Brow's voice was a little weak. Shao Qi thought about how White Brow was injured and turned around to help him up. In his heart, he was thinking about how majestic Sect Leader Lin was. He was too handsome. Huge waves rose up in Chen Xingyao's heart. That Martial Path Mountain Sect Leader was so strong? Previously, if the other party had been a little more serious, wouldn't that mean that this young master would have been unlucky? Young master, are you okay? Li Tsong ran over. When he heard that there was no movement outside, he snuck out. When he saw that young master and the prince were there, he headed forwards. Where is the enemy? Don't worry, young master, with me here, you will be fine. Li Tsong opened his arms and blocked in front of young master. His gaze was firm like he wouldn't blink for young master's safety. Scram! Chen Xingyao smacked Li Tsong away. What the *CK were you doing earlier? Everything had ended. Li Tsong felt wronged, he was just afraid. Your Royal Highness, I didn't protect you well, please forgive me. Chen Xingyao knelt on the ground and asked for forgiveness. Shao Qi was frightened to death, but he couldn't blame Chen Xingyao. He helped him up. It is okay, you protected me and I will remember it. Once this matter is solved, I will reward you. Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Chen Xingyao kowtowed. He was a person who was corrupted by power. He was such a violent person, but in front of true power, he was willing to be a dog. White Brow, I will help you to heal up. Nothing can happen to you, Shao Qi said. Don't worry, Your Royal Highness, nothing will happen to me, White Brow said. Shao Qi couldn't let anything happen to White Brow, otherwise something would happen to him. It wasn't good to head to Martial Path Mountain tonight, but he had to head tomorrow morning. To Chen Xingyao, he was already thinking about moving out of Jiang City. Demons had their eyes on Jiang City. If the prince couldn't solve this matter, he could just leave. What about him? If he stayed here, who knew when the demons would come? So the best choice was to leave with the prince and move Chen family away from this place. The next morning, when Huang Boren learned that demons came to Chen family last night, he was astonished. They came every night, who could take it? Luckily, Zhang Tianshan had already laid out something to defend against demons, so he didn't have to worry. After learning that the prince headed to Martial Path Mountain, he headed out right away and headed towards Martial Path Mountain. Chen Xingyao didn't sleep at all, thinking about whether or not to move out of Jiang City. However, things weren't as simple as he thought. If he moved, what about his fixed assets? Find someone to take over? Who would take over at such a time? As long as Chun family wanted to move, everyone would know why. Marshall Path Mountain, on the steps. Your Royal Highness, I think that we should leave Jiang City as soon as possible. The demons here aren't something we can deal with. White Brow rested for a night and recovered, but he was still terrified. That four-armed demon was a big demon and was really strong. They might have a chance of winning one-on-one, but there were too many of them. There wouldn't be a lone demon. It was just too difficult for him to protect the prince with his ability. Shao Qi was tempted. He also wanted to leave, but he couldn't say it so directly. To leave just like that and not care about the lives of the Jiang City people, that was a little, White Brow said. Your Royal Highness, I understand what you are thinking. We can't blame you for this, we can only blame ourselves for not knowing about the demons here. If not, we would have brought the Imperial Dynasty experts over to crush them. Let me think about this, Shao Qi said. What was there to think about? He had already thought about it. After visiting Marshall Path Mountain, he would leave right away. Of course, it wasn't that he didn't care, but he wanted to return to the Imperial Dynasty and bring a bunch of experts back to wipe out these demons. Last night, he was really frightened. His soul nearly left his body. On Marshall Path Mountain, Lin Fan knew that the prince would definitely come, so he was prepared to welcome him. Sect Leader Lin. This time Shao Qi was really warm. He came to Lin Fan's side and cupped his fists. Thanks to Sect Leader Lin last night, otherwise, I would have lost my life there. Small matter, not worth mentioning. Lin Fan smiled. It was indeed a small matter. Last night, after the big demon was captured, he was locked in the secret room and was unconscious. Till now, he still hadn't woken up, which made him a little anxious. After he sent the prince away, he had to have a good chat with the big demon about life and about ideals. Although he and the demons weren't the same species, each species had ideals. Shao Qi said, Sect Leader Lin, there are demons outside of Jiang City. That is a problem for Jiang City. Does Sect Leader Lin have a solution? Yes. Lin Fan said. What is it? Shao Qi asked curiously. Lin Fan said, very simple, we will charge in and wipe out all the demons to end all future problems. Shao Qi blinked. Forget it. Let's not talk about it. He was dumb enough to ask that question. That method was no different from asking to die. P.S. Thank you, Che Xiao Pao, Alliance Leader of the Elder, thank you. P.S. Thank you, Star Violent Bear, 50,000 reward from the Elder. P.S. Thank you, I am just a little student, reward from the Elder. Chapter 140. Lin Fan didn't want to continue. Shao Qi didn't know how to continue. For example, how could this method be called a method? More like it was asking to die. Sect Leader Lin, I am being serious. Shao Qi's expression was solemn. His meaning was obvious. He wasn't joking, he was going to run. But before he did, he wanted to ask whether or not there was a good idea. If there was a good idea, then he could take the risk and try. I'm telling the truth. Was the level of trust between people so low? Did Prince Shao Qi really think that he was joking? Wrong. I never joked, bringing all of us to charge at the demons. Don't ask me why I was so stubborn. To be more direct, my ego was inflated. Shao Qi was speechless. Forget it, even if he was serious, he couldn't. Without a perfect plan, he wouldn't believe it even if he died. Based on the records of the royal family, the demon chaos wasn't serious anymore. It was serious a long time ago. The day was the world of humans, and at night it was the paradise of the demons. After sacrificing numerous experts, they chased the demons far away. Now that the demons appeared around Jiang City, that wasn't a good sign. Yuan Tianshu looked at the prince. He guessed that the prince came to Marshall Path Mountain for a simple reason, which was to ask whether or not there was a way. If there was, he would definitely stay and solve this matter. After all, this was a huge merit that would be praised by the people. If there was no way, he would definitely run. However, Lin Fan's idea was too dumb. Anyone with a brain wouldn't think that it was a good idea. Now, he wanted to leave this place and return to U City. He wanted to hug his father's leg and cry that he didn't want to go out, he wanted to stay in U City. White Brow thought about it, no matter what, he had to bring the prince away. As for the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader, he admitted that he was strong, but he felt that he wasn't reliable. To say that he was strong, he was indeed very strong. But to say that he was really strong, just the few of them heading to the Demon's Nest, that was a joke. He was really afraid. At that moment, noises spread out from the entrance of Marshall Path Mountain. There was also the sound of dense footsteps. How lively! Lin Fan looked out, it was the Jiang City commoners surging over. From afar, he could hear the commoners shouting for His Royal Highness. Oh no! White Brow's heart twitched. For some reason, he had a bad feeling spreading in his heart. Please don't make that kind of request. Please don't be. Shao Qi saw that there were many commoners and it was a little crowded. He shouted right away, "Citizens, slow down, walk slowly, don't push. Let's talk about things later, pay attention to safety and don't get trampled." Although he was only a prince, he immediately displayed the demeanor of a wise monarch. F***CK. Your Royal Highness, please don't say that. Otherwise, it will be hard for you to back down. White Brow panicked. He already had some understanding of what was going to happen next. But looking at His Royal Highness's current situation, it seemed like he hadn't seen through it yet. This was a bit of a trap. True enough. As expected of a prince. With these words, the commoners stopped fighting and paid attention to their surroundings. There was no stampede. Very soon, the commoners came in front of the prince. There were at least 1,000 of them, and many of them were on the steps of Marshall Path Mountain and didn't squeeze up. Walala! The commoners knelt on the ground and shouted, "Your Highness, please save us." Their shouts shook the heavens. Shao Qi's expression was solemn as he reached out. "Please rise, I am here. If you have anything, just tell me." Lin Fan looked on calmly. These commoners really came at the right time. He didn't believe that someone was manipulating things from behind. Of course, he had to see what the situation was in case he guessed wrongly. "If the prince abandons us, we will kneel here and not get up." The commoners cried out. Lin Fan was helpless. If the prince abandoned them, they would kneel here. This was Marshall Path Mountain, my territory. If they really knelt to death, I would be the one to collect their corpses. Shao Qi panicked. What was going on? How did the commoners know that he was going to run? But he said calmly, "As the prince, you are all my people, so how can I abandon you? Stand up and speak." The commoners looked at one another and then someone stood up. "Your Royal Highness, recently there have been many tragedies in Jiang City. Someone said that evil demons came. We are all normal people and have no choice. If your Royal Highness leaves Jiang City, then we have no hope of living. We, the people of Jiang City, beg your Highness to save us." White Brow winked at the prince. He couldn't agree, he definitely couldn't agree, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to leave this place. If he didn't have any status, he could just say whatever he said. If the situation got bad, he could still leave. However, princes were different. With their status, if they went back on their word and went back on their word, it would greatly affect their status. Shao Qi felt a trust that he had never felt before. He looked at the commoners in front of him. They trusted and loved him so much. Could he leave? Actually, he really wanted to leave. "Commoners, don't worry, I definitely won't leave Jiang City. I will solve the threat to Jiang City," Shao Qi said. "Oh my God!" White Brow wanted to say something but stopped. "Your Royal Highness, why did you say that? There were no benefits for you at all. Did you forget about what happened last night? You need to pay attention to your status and identity. You can't casually promise others, especially in front of so many commoners. If you fled halfway, then the crown prince's reputation would be totally bad. Shao Qi calmly calmed them down, but he was shouting in his heart. What am I saying? Why did I say that? I can't take it anymore. Let me return to the imperial court, I will bring you experts. Actually, there is no point for me to stay here. Go back, all go back. I promise that I will solve the Jiang City matter. Shao Qi waved his hands and told the commoners to leave. It wasn't good for so many people to gather here. Be careful when you go down, don't step on anything. The commoners were easy to deal with. Since the prince promised in front of them, naturally, they believed him. After all, he was the prince, so how would he lie to them? Very quickly, the commoners went down the mountain. Shao Qi stood there. His expression was a little dejected. He knew that he had done something very stupid. But he had no choice. His personality was like that. As the prince, when he saw the commoners in danger, how could he retreat? He had to raise his head and charge forwards bravely. He didn't say anything, just promise and then think of a solution. Your Royal Highness, you were rash. White Brow said softly. Shao Qi nodded, and I was rash. He admitted that he was rash, but he had no choice. How could he not be rash when facing such a thing? Your Royal Highness, consider my idea. Lin Fan said. Shao Qi looked at Lin Fan. Consider what? Even if he died in Jiang City, he wouldn't die in the Yin Demon's nest. Sect Leader Lin, do you have any other ideas? Shao Qi asked. He felt that in Jiang City, in terms of strength, only Sect Leader Lin was reliable. Although his words were a little unreliable. But he didn't care. If he used another method, they could still continue to talk. Lin Fan shook his head. No. Damn. Shao Qi was helpless. You are forcing me to a dead end. Can't you say that you have a way? Just at that moment, Huang Boran came. He didn't have much use in coming to Martial Path Mountain. Huang family was a rich merchant family, just a slightly stronger existence in Jiang City. Now, he came to Martial Path Mountain to ask about the latest situation. Chern family being attacked by Yin demons was unexpected. Moreover, he panicked. Last night, the prince was in Chen family. If anything happened to him, the outcome would be catastrophic. At this moment, Lin Fan was thinking to himself, my dear brothers, you guys have pretty much finished what you need to talk about. Can you guys leave now? I am really anxious. There is also a bunch of cute Yin demons waiting for me in the secret room. All of you are wasting time talking nonsense here. Sect leader, come over. Zhang Tianshan stood not far away and waved towards Lin Fan. He looked really cunning, like he was hiding something. Lin Fan walked beside Zhang Tianshan. What is it? Zhang Tianshan got close to Lin Fan's ear and said softly, I have an idea. Originally, he wasn't interested in what Zhang Tianshan said at all, but his words were a little different. It was like he was a guy who often went to places of pleasure. When his friend asked him whether or not he was a virgin, he was as shocked as when others said that he was a virgin. Don't look at me like that, I really have an idea. Do you think that I am weak? I have a lot of experience in defending against Yin demons. Zhang Tianshan said. Really? Lin Fan had an idea. Zhang Tianshan nodded his head. Of course, but I have a condition. I will help Jiang City solve this matter, but you have to let me enjoy the same treatment as you. I also want to renovate everything in the house. Damn. That's all you've got? Martial Path Mountain deserved to go bankrupt because of him. Okay, head to the foot of the mountain to see whether or not the commoners have left. Lin Fan took in a deep breath. He had an idea in his heart. He walked in front of the prince. Actually, there is another way. This is the safest and won't cause any problems. Shao Qi was really depressed. When he heard those words, he was delighted. Sect Leader Lin, what is it? I have an idea to block the Yin demons and not let them enter the city to harm people. However, it consumes too much energy and materials. If we protect Jiang City, we will need 5,000 silver a month. Lin Fan said. Huang Boran found it weird. 5,000 silver, 60,000 a year, that isn't a small sum. That was indeed not a small sum. To Lin Fan, one tael here was like 1,000 on Earth, maybe even more. This was why 5,000 a month was 5 to 6 million, 60 to 70 million a year. Zhang Tianshan was delighted. He finally convinced this kid. As he walked down the mountain, he felt elated. Happy. Chapter 141. Hayes, actually this isn't a problem of money. To me, it is a huge burden. The main thing is that the prince loves the people, so if I don't sacrifice something, how can I do it? Lin Fan said. Huang Boran, please remember that you are investing in Martial Path Mountain, and actually said that it wasn't a small amount. You fellow White Brow had never heard of a way to defend against demons. However, looking at sect leader Lin, he didn't look like he was spouting nonsense. Okay, I agree. I will also thank sect leader Lin on behalf of the Jiang City people. Shao Qi cupped his fists. Sect leader Lin, please do it quickly. I will send the silver over. Yuan Tianchu looked at Lin Fan. There was a plot. There was definitely a plot. He didn't believe that surnamed Lin would be so kind to help others. Even if he was beaten to death, he wouldn't believe it. A bunch of stupid mortals. They were sold and still counted the money for others. Even the way he looked at the prince changed, like he was saying that the prince was just so-so. His brain wasn't working as fast as mine. Don't worry, no demons will enter Jiang City tonight. The prince doesn't have to worry. Lin Fan said. Shao Qi heaved a sigh of relief. However, he was still a little doubtful and wasn't sure whether or not this matter would succeed. Jiang City. Chen Xingyao looked at the faces of the people who returned and heaved a sigh of relief. They were all smiling, and it was obvious that the prince agreed. Manager, you told him that he couldn't let the prince leave. If not, Jiang City would be in danger. After which, Manager, you ordered people to spread the news that the prince wanted to leave. If Jiang City didn't have him, then everyone would die. How would the people want to die? They would definitely gather together and beg the prince to stay. Manager, you did well. Chen Xingyao said. Young master, we can only do that. As long as the prince is in Jiang City, then there will be a way. Manager, you said. In times of danger, when everyone was helpless, if there was someone with a high position, then everyone would have a thought to believe in him. As long as they followed him, they would be able to get through this. Chen Xingyao muttered. Prince, don't blame me, I had no choice. White Brow, who left Martial Path Mountain, frowned helplessly. Your Royal Highness, you shouldn't have agreed to those commoners. White Brow, there is no need to speak of this matter anymore. I have already made up my mind. As a prince, no matter what danger I face, I cannot abandon the common people. The ancestor who founded the dynasty still fled with the common people when the enemy chased after him. How can the current me abandon them? Shao Qi deeply respected the old ancestor who created the dynasty. That was benevolent, and he was working hard to learn. White Brow was speechless. If he had to say something disgraceful, he would definitely say, Your Highness, do you think you're protecting your people by running away with them? The truth was that there was an ulterior motive. It could be summed up in a few sentences. Win over the hearts of the people, stabilize the morale of the army, carry resources, and act as a shield. In the end, it was just like that. Your Highness is benevolent, this servant admires you. White Brow was filled with respect. However, Your Highness, the 60,000 silver that sect leader Lin mentioned, was it personally given by Your Highness? I don't have money, Shao Qi said. Let's go find those Jiang City merchant families and let them split it. It isn't much anyway. To Shao Qi, to let him stay and take money, did they really think he was a fool? He didn't have money. Even if he did, it was given by the Jiang City merchant families themselves. After Shao Qi returned to Jiang City, he saw Chen Xingyao waiting at the city gate. He told him to call all the merchants in the city over as he had something important to discuss. Chen Xingyao was delighted. It was okay as long as His Highness didn't leave. If he really had no choice, to have His Highness accompany him was a huge gain. There were many merchants in Jiang City, but there were basically none who could reach the level of Chen family and Huang family. The rest were mid-sized merchants who didn't have much power, but they were really rich. I have a way to protect Jiang City. Shao Qi opened his mouth and said. His first sentence made everyone very happy. What happened in the last few days made everyone panic. Now that His Highness confirmed it, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, to protect Jiang City, we need to pay 5,000 silver to Martial Path Mountain. Shao Qi continued. Some merchants were moved to tears. His Highness is kind, not only going through thick and thin with Jiang City, but also paying. We are grateful to His Highness. That's right, that's right. His Highness is a wise ruler in the future. Shao Qi waved his hands. These merchants were about to die and still wanted to take advantage of him. Did they really think that he came out from a bunch of fools? This money isn't paid by me, but by everyone here, split it equally. And some merchants were shocked. Split it equally? That was a little terrifying. This was different from what they thought. Shao Qi said, Don't think that I am stingy, actually my royal family is proud of being thrifty. Don't think that I am a prince, actually all my wealth added up can't even be compared to a fraction of all of you. Do you believe me? Who would believe you? You are such a bad prince. But how could they say that? All of them nodded their heads, they definitely believed him. Who had the balls to say, I don't believe you? His Highness, isn't 5,000 silver to Martial Path Mountain a little too much? Moreover, we aren't sure if Martial Path Mountain can protect Jiang City. A merchant asked weakly. His aura wasn't strong enough and he felt a little weak. He was facing the Royal Highness. For a commoner like him to be able to sit here and talk to the Royal Highness, it was already a blessing to his ancestors. Shao Qi said, I will tell you the truth. The evil demons outside aren't anything else but demons. They specialize in eating human blood and flesh. No matter where you hide, no matter how deep you hide, they can eat you up unknowingly. So it doesn't matter whether you believe me or not. You can wait for me to gather the Imperial Dynasty experts to wipe them out. When that happens, you don't need to pay. These fellows really made one feel despair. At such a time, they were still thinking about money. If not for the pleas of the Jiang City people, he wouldn't have stayed here. All the merchants sucked in a deep cold breath. How terrifying! His Highness's words were just too terrifying. Chen Xingyao stepped out and said, What are you all thinking about? Do you want money or your life? My Chen family agrees. Huang Boran said, My Huang family agrees too. The rest of the people looked at each other and agreed one after another. How should they split it equally? If they gave too much, they were a little reluctant. If they gave too little, naturally they couldn't. Outside of General City. Is your method reliable or not? Lin Fan asked. He hoped that Zhang Tianshan wouldn't disappoint him. This was a long-term business. Did he know what a business was? It was to lay at home and not do anything. Every day, he would count money until his hands cramped. Of course it is reliable. When have I not been reliable? Zhang Tianshan pushed a small cart. There were many stones in it. There wasn't anything special about these stones. The surface was red like it was dyed in blood. To Lin Fan, these stones looked like the Hailuo red stone. Zhang Tianshan walked for a while and stopped. He raised his head and looked at the sky. He acted like he was calculating with his fingers. He picked up a stone and dug a hole at the corner of the city wall before burying it. Lin Fan followed behind and found it weird. What stone is this? Zhang Tianshan smiled. You don't understand, right? This is a red flame stone, a normal stone. It isn't worth much and doesn't have much use. But nature is magical, everything counters one another. This red flame stone counters demons. Our Marshall Path Mountain's back mountain is filled with these stones, so many that it is a little scary. Actually, this red flame stone is just a support, the key. Forget it, you won't understand even if I tell you, so let's not talk about it. Zhang Tianshan actually knew how to keep him in suspense. Lin Fan squinted. If you don't say it, then I won't buy anything for you. No, if you don't buy it for me, then I won't do it. Zhang Tianshan had thoughts of dropping everything and going home. He actually knew how to threaten. However, it was really useful. Okay, I will give you 50 silver, say it. Lin Fan didn't want Zhang Tianshan to drop everything on such a small amount of silver. He still had to do what he had to do. Zhang Tianshan shook his head and said proudly, 50 silver is not enough, I calculated it for you. You spent over 100 in the market. As the deputy sect leader, even if I lower the conditions, it will still be 100 silver. Without this number, I won't agree. You fellow. Lin Fan pointed at Zhang Tianshan. What a useless fellow. He thought that it would cost a few thousand, so it was 100. One's knowledge determined one's height. It wasn't without reason that Marshall Path Mountain went bankrupt because of him. Okay, I will give you 100 silver. Hurry up, don't waste time. Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan smiled. He suddenly noticed that this kid was a good person. He had wronged him in the past. Once Zhang Tianshan was satisfied with the money, he would have more motivation to work and he would talk more. Actually, I am using the red flame stone to connect the yang power that Jiang City has accumulated for hundreds of years. Demons are most afraid of two types of power, one is lightning and the other is yang power. Now that I have drawn out the yang power, the demons won't dare to come. Zhang Tianshan said. The city also has yang power? Lin Fan asked. Zhang Tianshan said, yes, as long as there is a sun, there will be yang power. Every day the sun shines high, who knows how much Jiang City has absorbed. We just lack a catalyst. As for the location of the layout, it is really important. Without decades of research, it is tough to understand. He even started to be arrogant. He had some ability. I take back what I said before. My father's friends, even if they weren't strong, they had some specialties. How long can it last? Lin Fan asked. Zhang Tianshan said, forever. As long as the sun exists, the yang power will be replenished. Also, these stones can't be dug out. If they are, then they are useless. It sounded so simple. If one really wanted to do it, it would be really difficult. Zhang Tianshan was a skilled person. The location to bury the red flame stone had to be chosen carefully and couldn't be casually buried. P.S. Thank you, Iag Qishin, Alliance Leader. Chapter 142. Jiang City wasn't small. It took a lot of time to circle around the city walls. Since the big demon was captured, he had been locked in a dark and damp secret room. No one cared about them and no one loved them. Just the thought of it was too horrible to look at. He was finally done. Zhang Tianshan wiped the sweat off his forehead. It wasn't easy to earn 100 silver, but he was really happy. After so many years, since Marshall Path Mountain went bankrupt, this was the biggest amount of silver he had gotten. When the sun was about to set, Shao Qi brought White Brow up Marshall Path Mountain. Even if he trusted Lin Fan, he wouldn't dare to stay in Jiang City. No one knew if Jiang City would be safe tonight. Those commoners believed that Jiang City was safe, but that was their belief. To Shao Qi, this matter needed to be observed. He could not risk his life with the commoners. This was why when the sky was about to turn dark, he came to Marshall Path Mountain as this place was the safest. After all, sect leader Lin was the strongest. Did he really think that Shao Qi was dumb? Actually, he wasn't dumb at all. Instead, he was really smart. Young master, are we really heading to Marshall Path Mountain? Li Tsong asked. We have conflicts with Marshall Path Mountain. Young master, you sent Wolf Brigade to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain, and now you want to stay at Marshall Path Mountain. That doesn't feel good. Just how thick was his skin? If it were him, he wouldn't have the face to do so. Chen Xingyao said, let's head to Marshall Path Mountain to hide for a night and take a look at the Jiang City situation tomorrow. Li Tsong said, but are they willing to accept us? Why not? His Royal Highness is definitely on Marshall Path Mountain. Let's find him to drink and then get drunk. Won't we stay on Marshall Path Mountain? Chen Xingyao said. Manager, you nodded. Young master's idea is a good one. Let's not talk about it for now. In any case, there shouldn't be any problems with good food and wine. Chen Xingyao didn't want to head to Marshall Path Mountain. But there was no other way. He didn't dare to stay in Jiang City. He would only dare to return to Jiang City after confirming that everything was fine the next day. On the mountain, Zhang Tianshan was in Yuan Tianchu's room. Actually, sect leader Lin is not bad. Shua. Yuan Tianchu stared at Zhang Tianshan. F***ck me. What kind of medicine did you have up your sleeves? And what kind of magic potion did Lin Fan feed you for you to actually speak up for him? You're the one who speaks ill of me the most. Are you wondering why I said such nice things? This matter. Forget it, let's not talk about it. If I say too much, you might not be able to accept it. Sometimes jealousy is the most vicious of all emotions. Zhang Tianshan waved his hands and didn't say much. F***ck. Yuan Tianchu wanted to hear what happened for Zhang Tianshan to actually speak up for Lin Fan. I didn't expect you to be the kind of person who hid so deeply. If you didn't finish what you wanted to say, your butt would hurt for half a day. Liang Yongqi scoffed, too lazy to bother with Zhang Tianshan. To him, Marshall Path Mountain didn't have many good people. Especially this liar. He felt like he wasn't a good person. It had been a long time since he left U City and came to Marshall Path Mountain. Who knew what he did every day? Every day, he was just idling away. His head was hurting. Outside, Shao Qi brought White Brow up the mountain, and the moment he arrived, he saw a person standing there. He recognized that it was sect leader Lin's cousin. He had seen his skills that night and he was a strong expert. Is sect leader Lin here? Shao Qi asked. Zhou Zhongmao didn't care about the prince. My cousin is busy. What matter do you all have? Jiang City is airtight. The air is filled with fire energy and is really hot. Breathing isn't smooth, so I want to spend a night on Marshall Path Mountain. Shao Qi said. When he said those words, his face turned red. How embarrassing! A prince was actually so frightened by the Yin demons that he wanted to hide in Marshall Path Mountain to feel safe. He even wanted to lie. However, he had no choice. Humans were magical. The higher one's position was, the more embarrassing the things one did. Wait, there are still people. Zhou Zhongmao continued to wait. Cousin told him before he entered the secret room. Tonight there would be 2 waves of people. The prince had already arrived. Next would be the Chen family. They should be here soon. Shao Qi found it weird. There were still people coming? Not long later, Chen Xingyao brought people over. He carried dishes and wine. When he saw the prince, he was slightly stunned and then said anxiously, Your Royal Highness, I finally found you. Shao Qi acknowledged it wasn't natural, like a secret was found out. His gaze and Chen Xingyao's eyes exchanged glances. Like the 2 of them had a tacit understanding that neither of them would expose the other. Zhou Zhongmao was lazy to bother. My cousin said that the prince can stay on Marshall Path Mountain. Marshall Path Mountain was not bad. Although the sect was small, their ability made him feel good. In the future, if he had the ability, he would support him. Manager, you said, we aren't staying here. We just brought food and wine to visit your Royal Highness. Once it ends, we will leave. If they really entered, this meal would last for a long time. They would at least have to eat until dawn. Zhou Zhongmao opened his hands. You can enter, but hand over all the silver on you. My cousin said that Martial Path Mountain is a quiet place, and if you enter, it will damage Martial Path Mountain's reputation. If you go past midnight, then the silver will be destroyed. Nonsense. Chen Xingyao cursed in his heart. What destruction? Couldn't he just say that he took it? How fake. However, he had no choice. For the sake of his life, he had to give them the money. Li Tsong muttered in his heart, those who took advantage of the situation were beasts. In the secret room, when Lin Fan entered the secret chamber, there was a gust of cold wind blowing at him. Perhaps it was an illusion, but it was definitely not a hallucination. Maybe the Yin demons are thinking about me. Lin Fan was really eager. The research value of the big Yin demon far exceeded that of normal Yin demons. In the distance, a hoarse roar spread out. It was like the Yin demons were talking to each other. Oi, I am here, I have made all of you wait. Instantly, there was no movement at all in the darkness in the distance. Those low growls that seemed to be whispers disappeared in an instant, and everything returned to normal. Lin Fan smiled. They were really a bunch of shy things. They knew that he was here and were embarrassed to speak. Deep within the secret room, the surrounding environment was really bright. It wasn't a jail, so naturally, there was no need to make it so terrifying. When Lin Fan stood in front of all the Yin demons, the fierce wind and torrential rain came. Rage points plus 66. Rage points plus 88. Rage points plus 111. It was too violent. Soundless anger represented true anger. Don't be so passionate, we still have a long way to go. Lin Fan waved his hands. These Yin demons were too passionate, and he nearly couldn't get used to it. Cousin would use special internal strength to suppress these Yin demons at a fixed time. Naturally, he didn't need to worry that they would run. Human, let us go. The big Yin demon hollered in rage. He had always felt that Yin demons were the most terrifying existence, but now he understood that Yin demons weren't terrifying. What was terrifying were these humans. In the east forest of Yu City, a human suppressed the Yin demons such that they couldn't even raise their heads. Now, he met another human here who tied him up here. Once I am sick of playing with you, I will let you all go. Lin Fan was really calm. He felt that the Yin demons were really pure, their emotions were so obvious. They didn't hide anything. Rage points plus 444. The big Yin demon looked at all the Yin demons. His mouth moved and gave out a sound that one couldn't understand. Yen #% at asterisk, and the sound sounded like the special language of the Yin demons. Then, the Yin demons raised their heads and roared. The sound wasn't sharp, but it was really penetrating, like they were asking for help. Lin Fan shook his head. Stop shouting, it is useless even if you break your throat. Although he said that, the Yin demons didn't believe him and continued to shout with all their might. Lin Fan didn't stop them from roaring. Shouting was their freedom, moreover, the sound was not bad. The Yin demons were really unlucky to fall into Lin Fan's hands. If it was a normal human, it was already not bad that they weren't frightened to death. How would they be so relaxed like this? Lin Fan moved a chair over and placed a cup of tea on his left. He sat there and drank it leisurely. He didn't have many dreams. He just wanted to live the life of a rich family young master. Although his strength didn't allow him to, he suppressed it. The 3rd of August was a memorable day. That was because before Martial Path Mountain opened, they found a long-term business. As long as they maintained it, they would be able to earn money in the future. Their living conditions were greatly improved. After a long while, the Yin demons stopped roaring, their red eyes stared at Lin Fan. Rage points plus 111. Rage points plus 123. Rage points plus 555. He didn't do anything and just sat there drinking tea. The Yin demons were furious. Whether or not he treated them was the same thing. Drinking tea? Leisurely? The demons felt that they had suffered a huge insult. Lin Fan placed the half-empty teacup to the side. You can continue to shout, I won't stop you. I told you that you are free here. In just a short while, his rage points increased by 5,000. Although it wasn't much. But this was like cultivation, it wasn't something that could be achieved in one go. It was often slowly accumulating, and then slowly getting stronger. Human, you are too arrogant. The big demon was so furious that it wanted to explode. It had never seen such an arrogant person. Haze! Lin Fan got up, picking up the blade and walking in front of the big demon. You are tall and different from the other demons. Let me tell you, I can treat them well, but your mysteriousness makes me curious. Let me tell you, I was the nephew of a biology research assistant in a university, and I had some attainments in biology. What was he saying? What the F***ck are you talking about? The big demon didn't understand what Lin Fan was saying. University Biology Research Lab? What was that? He tried to contact his race members, but he didn't expect this secret room to block their shouts. Fellow brothers, we are here, come and save us. Your tale is special, other demons don't have it, only you do. Lin Fan walked behind the big demon and said. That voice caused the big demon to shiver. It felt like something terrifying was about to happen. Poochie. His blade was so quick that it couldn't be captured. Screams spread out. Rage points plus 666. The big demon's tail was directly sliced off. P.S. Thank you, Brother Steven 0625, for your support. Chapter 143. They panicked. The other small demons panicked. What was going on with this human? Why did he slice off the tail of the big demon just like that? Actually, when they ate him, they didn't speak at all. Lin Fan was much better than them, at least he only attacked because of a disagreement. In terms of overall quality, he was much better than the others. This was also the difference in education. Did demons read before? They definitely didn't, maybe they were all illiterate people. The wound on the big demon's tail had circles of meat patterns. If it was cooked, it might taste good. Damn. How could he have such disgusting and perverted thoughts? Lin Fan picked up the tail of the big demon and grabbed it in his hands. It felt like metal, the entire tail was made up of an inverted triangle of metal. However, it wasn't metal, instead it was really soft. Maybe only when the big demon was furious would it become really tough. Lin Fan didn't bother about the cries of the big demon. He looked closely at the tail. There was nothing special about it, it was really normal, just that it looked a little weird. He shivered. The small demons were stunned by the human's method. Who said that demons wouldn't be afraid? Someone once said that demons wouldn't be afraid because of your strength. Actually, that was nonsense, but it depended on whether or not one's methods were strong. He looked for a long while. Lin Fan tossed the tail in front of the big demon and said regretfully, along with the process, your mysteriousness is slowly weakening. How did the demon manage to turn into a black mist? The tail that was sliced open was obviously flesh and blood. This place was filled with many mysteries. The night sky was high. The Wolf Brigade forest that was mutated by the demon aura gave off a dark and terrifying aura. Suddenly, a huge wind blew. The entire forest was restless. Many things surged out from the dark forest. Shwa! Instantly, many black shadows broke through the night sky and charged out. The night demons that crawled on all fours raised their heads and roared. They were sending some sort of signal. Translation. Damn, Big Brother didn't return for a night, what happened? Brothers move out to search for Big Brother. Humans are so annoying, didn't we just eat a little of them? How can they be so stingy? The appearance of the demons meant that a storm of blood was about to happen. In the valley, two confused wild boars were having an affair. Their families were against them, so they couldn't be together. They could only find an uninhabited place under the night sky to have their fun. Suddenly, in the face of danger, they forgot themselves. Only in such a tense and exciting atmosphere could they achieve true joie. Black fog covered the two wild boars, and in the blink of an eye, the two wild boars were reduced to skeletons. They maintained their previous postures, as if they were going to die. The demons were too hungry. They wouldn't even spare flesh and blood. Looking down from above, demons covered the land. Using the night sky, their red eyes were like rubies, really eye-catching. There was even a peculiar sense of beauty to it. They passed by Marshall Path Mountain and just took a look. What was the point of making it so bright? It was really eye-piercing. Rivertown was just ahead. They wanted to eat their fill. The fragile hearts of those humans were enough to make up for their hungry stomach. Very soon, when the demon army was close to Jiang City, they all stopped. F***ck. What was going on? In their eyes, Jiang City was as eye-catching as the sun. That white glow was what they hated the most. It irritated their eyes. The demons hissed at one another. What should we do? We can't enter this city. Humans are really cunning to actually block our way. You knock it and see whether or not you can break it open. My leg is broken, I can't run. They came out to search for food, but they didn't expect that they would face such a situation. On the city walls, a guard got up to pee. The numerous red eyes in the night frightened him so much that he peed in his pants. What were those? But very quickly, he noticed that the numerous red eyes disappeared. He sat on the ground and panted. Were those the demons that people in the city were talking about? He actually saw demons. However, they didn't enter, which meant that Jiang City was safe, and the demons couldn't enter. Thinking about that, he heaved a sigh of relief. Too terrifying. Next day, the first thing the Jiang City people did when they woke up was when they realized that they were still alive. They were so excited that they jumped onto the roofs. Who knew which merchant spread the news about demons, causing the entire city to know that there was a type of demon called demons. They ate human flesh and were terrifying life forms that sucked blood. Now they were alive. What did it prove? That Jiang City was safe, and they didn't need to worry in the future. The people cheered. The streets were filled with people talking to each other. Prince is good, Prince is amazing, Prince is in Jiang City, we are happy. Actually, what did they know? Your prince was so frightened that he ran to Marshall Path Mountain to stay. When those merchants heard that, they wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Could they have any face? They spent money for Marshall Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. However, no one dared to say that. Who dared to say that this had nothing to do with the prince? Who dared to tell the people that they were the ones who spent money, that the prince didn't even pay, that he was so stingy? It had nothing to do with him. However, they were sure of one thing, that Jiang City was really safe. Last night, the guards on the city walls said that they saw demons. There were many of them and they were really terrifying. They had 3 heads, 8 eyes, teeth as long as thighs, and mouths as big as water tanks. The commoners all believed them. As for the merchants, who would believe them? They were exaggerating a little. Marshall Path Mountain. Shao-Chi was in a good mood. He received news that Jiang City was really safe last night, and the demons didn't attack. At this moment, he saw Lin Fan walk over slowly. He smiled. Sect Leader Lin, your methods are amazing. I respect you, I really respect you. Lin Fan said, Prince can think for the people of Jiang City, so naturally, my Marshall Path Mountain can't sit still and not do anything. At that moment, Shao-Chi waved his hands. White Brow took out a thick stack of bills. Sect Leader Lin, this is a year's fee. Yesterday, Shao-Chi collected the money. If Jiang City was fine, then naturally the money would belong to Marshall Path Mountain. If it failed, then the money would be used to collect the corpses of the dead. As the prince, there were some things that he had to take care of. Lin Fan took the money and placed it well. He couldn't let Zhang Tianshan see it, otherwise this fellow would cry for his parents. Every year, we have a business worth 60,000 taels of silver, but they only gave me, a key figure, 100 taels of silver. No matter who it was, they wouldn't be able to take it. The person who felt the most fortunate was naturally White Brow. He had been protecting the Crown Prince, and was under huge pressure. If anything happened to the Crown Prince in Jiang City, he wouldn't be able to escape the blame. No, if the Crown Prince died, then it meant that he died too. Your Royal Highness, if demons cause chaos in the future, you have to find me, Lin Fan said. This was a long-term business. As long as other people didn't know how to defend against demons, then it would be an endless source of wealth. Of course, sect leader Lin's methods are amazing. Without using a single soldier, he blocked the demons outside the city. What a godly technique, Shao Qi said. He said softly. Sect leader Lin, let's make a deal. Tell me the method. Shao Qi's thoughts were beautiful. If he knew a way, he could return to the imperial dynasty and let him offer it to his father. Then, the sun is a little hot. Lin Fan raised his head and said. Shao Qi nodded. It is indeed hot. Daydreaming. It was a good daydream. At that moment, Chen Xingyao came out. They were drunk last night and then slept in the broken room. That bed was so hard that his butt hurt. But he had no choice. He could only bear with it for his life. Sect leader Lin, you really paid a lot for a night's stay. Chen Xingyao said. No one forced you, Lin Fan said. Chen Xingyao looked at Lin Fan. This fellow was so annoying. Forget it, he couldn't offend him. If he didn't know that he was so amazing, he would have killed him. Li Tsong and manager, you felt fortunate that they were still alive. Your Royal Highness, did you have a good night? Chen Xingyao walked beside Shao Qi and asked caringly. Very good. Shao Qi nodded his head. The Jiang City matter could finally come to an end. As a bootlicker beside the prince, it wasn't embarrassing for Chen Xingyao. Normal people couldn't even lick him if they wanted to. Shao Qi didn't want to stay in Jiang City. This time he was using his life to protect his reputation. If not for Martial Path Mountain helping him, the outcome would have been unimaginable. He was too rash, too rash. Such a bad habit had to be changed. To stay just because the commoners begged him, he was sick in the head. Sect leader Lin, I still have things to do, so I won't stay in Jiang City, Shao Qi said. Lin Fan cupped his fists. Have a good trip, Prince. If you have any business in the future, please take care of my small sect. The two of them exchanged a few polite greetings, but they didn't say anything useful. When Chen Xingyao heard that the prince wanted to leave, he was really reluctant. He hadn't licked enough. The prince wasn't tempted by him. Martial Path Mountain calmed down. Young master, breakfast is ready. Go Zi wore an apron and held a spatula in his hand as he shouted. He was a qualified Go Zi. I am coming. However, before he came, he went into the room and hid the bills. Close to 200,000 silver. He panicked a little when he placed it in the room. He didn't think that it was easy to earn money in U City. Who knew that after he came out, he really didn't know what to say. Maybe it was even easier than drinking water. No wonder so many people wanted to create sections. Having a long-term business was better than anything else. During the meal, when Zhang Tianshan thought about the 100 silver on him, he panicked. After breakfast, what should he buy in the city? What a headache. Kiki, Yuan Tianchu and Liang Yongqi looked at Zhang Tianshan's silly smile and couldn't understand what was going on. What kind of secrets were hidden in that smile? I am prepared to tidy up Martial Path Mountain, but I am still not satisfied with the renovations, Lin Fan said after drinking a bowl of shark fin porridge. Zhang Tianshan said, Okay, I will always support sect leader's decision. P.S. Thank you, Naked Teen, 60,000 reward from 2 elders. P.S. Thank you, Little Brother Don't Cry, Evil Inc. Oriole, 10,000 reward from 2 elders. Chapter 144. Zhang Tianshan's impression of Lin Fan changed. Kid was not bad. Not only was he generous, but he was also easy to talk to. I support sect leader's decision, but I have no money to support your decision to renovate Marshall Path Mountain. Zhang Tianshan knew that he shouldn't show off his wealth. The sect leader knew that he had 100 silver. But he needed it to buy furniture, so he couldn't scam him right after giving it to him, right? Yuan Tianchu and Liang Yongqi were like passers-by. You guys talk. The two of us will just watch. No matter what you do, it has nothing to do with us. Breakfast ended. Lin Fan pulled Zhang Tianshan to the corner. I'll give you 100 silver. If you want to make your house and courtyard like mine, that's basically impossible. But if you give me the 100 silver, I promise to make your courtyard exactly like mine. How about that? Zhang Tianshan held the 100 silver in his arms. He was robbing money and he regretted it just like that? Could he have some morals? He was praising him just now. However, nephew Lin's words moved Zhang Tianshan a little. He knew that 100 silver definitely couldn't buy such a high-quality one. But he was afraid that Lin Fan would cheat him and cheat him out of his money. Are you sure you aren't lying to me? Zhang Tianshan asked. He was a little afraid. The young people nowadays were so cunning. He was already over 100 years old, and he really couldn't beat them. For example, that Yuan Tianchu. He was such a good young man, but the way he looked at him all day long revealed an extremely strange light. Lin Fan patted Zhang Tianshan's shoulder and said calmly, Do I look like someone who would lie to you? I promise to do everything for you tonight. It will be exactly the same as mine. If there is a difference, I will pay it back 10 times. Zhang Tianshan was tempted. If he said that he wasn't tempted, he would be lying. Sect leader, I believe you. Zhang Tianshan hesitated for a long while, but in the end, he was tempted by Lin Fan's words. He envied the decorations in Lin Fan's house. 100 silver indeed couldn't buy it. If Lin Fan didn't lie to him, then he would have earned a huge sum. Lin Fan smiled. Wait for the good news. Outside, Lin Fan wanted to head to Jiang City. He passed Go Zi 2,000 silver and told him to use that to decorate the house and courtyard. He bought everything according to the best price. Carrying a huge sum of money made one's heart flustered. Only by spending it slowly would one feel truly comfortable. When the things are delivered, remember to move all the furniture in my house to Zhang Tianshan's place. Lin Fan said. When he obtained such a huge sum, he wanted to enjoy it. His life had to be better than in Yu City. Zhang Tianshan wanted to decorate the room like his, so he had to help him. He didn't move it at all, ensuring that it was exactly the same. Also, I am prepared to build a fake mountain fountain on Marshall Path Mountain to raise some fish. I will also build a 3-story building to rest in. Go arrange for that. Although Marshall Path Mountain was a sect, he wanted to develop Marshall Path Mountain into one with him as the main sect. As for finding a disciple, that was still too far away. But his heart had other ideas. He had to find a disciple who could serve him, not a disciple who he had to nurture. Yes, young master. Go Zi didn't think so much and just said whatever young master said. Go Zi noticed. He really did not have any talent for cultivation. He could only develop his daily life and cooking skills. He knew that the young master lacked these things, so he had to make arrangements for the young master. Rivertown. Tens of thousands of people sent him off. The scene was magnificent. Take a look. What did it mean to follow the hearts of the people? This was what it meant to follow the hearts of the people. Shao Qi's eyes were filled with tears as he waved his hands to say goodbye to the commoners. As a prince, his greatest gain from this trip would be what he had gained in Jiang City. He had done a huge thing. My people, don't send me off. I am leaving. One day in the future, I will come back to see all of you. Shao Qi said as he covered his eyes and cried. It was like he couldn't bear to part with these people. When the commoners saw the prince cry, they cried too. What a good prince! In the past, they didn't think that they would have such a chance to be so close to the prince. Now that they came into contact with him, they realized that they were living in such a blissful environment. With a prince who loved them so much, when he sat on the throne, how blissful would that be? White Brow stood behind the prince expressionlessly. Amazing! The prince really followed the hearts of the people. This was a huge responsibility from the heavens. Lin Fan looked on from not far away. Amazing, are the royal family disciples all so good at acting? Or are they all so good at acting? To the commoners, the prince was showing his true emotions. He really couldn't bear to leave them. But in the eyes of smart people, his acting skills were just too exaggerated. However, one had to say that exaggerated acting skills were able to touch the chord in other people's hearts. Shao Qi might seem a little dumb, but one had to say that his acting skills were really deep. Didn't they see that the people were being led away by his crying and talking? At that moment, Shao Qi grabbed Chen Xingyao's hand and said sincerely, "Your Chen family is a huge family in Jiang City. I hope that when I am not here, you can help me take care of my people. If I hear that you use your status to bully my people, do you know the consequences?" Chen Xingyao was willing to be a bootlicker by the prince's side. Especially when the prince grabbed his hand and said those words, his face flushed red from excitement. Don't think that it was a threat. But to Chen Xingyao, it wasn't a problem. "Don't worry, Prince, I will help you take care of these people," Chen Xingyao said. He patted his chest and promised it. Shao Qi looked at the commoners. "You all heard it. In the future, if you are bullied by those in power, find young Master Chen. If there is a huge matter, don't be anxious. When I come to Jiang City again, tell me and I will help you." Those were empty words. But one had to say that those words had a huge calming effect on the commoners. "Prince!" The commoners wiped their tears. The commoners were wiping their tears. What a good prince! If he could become an emperor in the future, they would definitely live a happier life. To the commoners, what they were thinking was just too beautiful. Shao Qi told Chen Xingyao to take care of the commoners. Wasn't that nonsense? He was just lying to the commoners. To Chen Xingyao, he was stunned. The commoners came to find him when they were bullied? What if they were bullied by him? Of course, Chen family's luck had been destroyed, and to recover to its peak, it would depend on whether or not Chen Xingyao worked hard. Shao Qi didn't expect to bring Chen Xingyao along. Just a Jiang City aristocratic family. What was the point of bringing him along? "Young Master Chen, remember my words. My heart is bright, and I will have what I need in the future." Shao Qi patted Chen Xingyao's shoulder and put up a smokescreen. He didn't say anything threatening, but it did make Chen Xingyao feel a chill down his spine. "Your Highness, it is late, we should head out," White Brow said. There were demons around Jiang City, so it was best to leave early and get far away from the demon area. If they faced demons in the wilderness, they would definitely die. Shao Qi knew what White Brow was referring to. Thinking about that situation, he felt terrified. Demons and such things. Why didn't he kill them all that year? Shao Qi waved his hands, not taking away a single cloud, but the love and respect that the people had for him. This trip was worth it. He earned a lot. "Brother Huang, why didn't you say goodbye to the prince?" Lin Fan asked. Huang Boran and him stood in the distance and looked on as the prince left. They didn't head up to send him off. Chen Xingyao wanted to suck up to the prince, but unfortunately, he wasn't skilled enough. He didn't manage to suck up to the prince, so he remained in Jiang City. What's there to go for? This prince looks a little inexperienced, but he's actually very powerful. That fellow Chen Xingyao still wants to rely on the prince to enter the center of power. In my opinion, he's licking until there's nothing left. "It's all for nothing," Huang Boran said. He looked at it. Although the Jiang City aristocrats were decent, compared to those close to the imperial dynasty, it was like an ant to an elephant. Why would the prince care about the Jiang city aristocrats? Only the prince was in Jiang city and needed their help, otherwise, he wouldn't even bother about them. The prince left. The commoners were a little sad. Chen Xingyao stood there, and he didn't feel good in his heart. Chen Xingyao wasn't good enough. Or did I not lick him enough? He actually didn't bring him along. He also wanted to head to the imperial dynasty to take a look at the center of power. The sun set. Martial Path Mountain was really busy. Slow down, all of you, slow down. Zhang Tianshan stood in his courtyard and looked at the luxurious furniture being moved in. He was really happy. As expected, the kid didn't lie to him. He really had to buy it for him. Yuan Tianshu silently looked at the furniture being moved into Zhang Tianshan's room. He was envious, but he didn't show it. There was definitely a deal that couldn't be revealed. Liang Yongqi couldn't take it. Where did you get all this from? Zhang Tianshan smiled. Didn't I tell all of you? Our sect leader is not bad. In the past, it was all a misunderstanding. Let me tell you, you are the grand disciple now. As long as you work hard and make the sect leader happy, you can have all this. Of course, you are weaker than me. After all, you are only the grand disciple, and I am the deputy sect leader. Damn. Those words were meant to kill. Zhang Tianshan didn't say anything that tempted him at all. Deputy sect leader? Grand disciple? There was a difference in status here. Liang Yongqi just wanted to go home and didn't want to stay here. He suffered too much. But the Liang family had no place for him. Father chased him out and gave all his love to big brother Liang Yichu. Damn. It wasn't like that in the past. What mistake did he make that led to him being chased out of the house? He tried his best to think, but he couldn't. Tisk, no one admits that you are the deputy sect leader. Liang Yongqi said unhappily. Zhang Tianshan was unhappy. How can a disciple speak to the deputy sect leader like that? Show your attitude, how can you get such treatment? In the future, if a new disciple enters and performs better than you, your grand disciple position will be given to someone else. Give what? I have had enough. Whoever wants to stay in this place can stay. Liang Yongqi was furious. Maybe he had touched his sore spot. Liang family's position was taken, and now he said that the grand disciple position was going to be taken too. That was like a knife stabbing his heart. Zhang Tianshan shook his head. Young people nowadays. Just a few sentences and they were unhappy. Haze. Yuan Tianshu was really calm. He didn't join in the quarrel and just used his eyes to observe the development of things. He was searching for clues. P.S. Please get some guaranteed monthly tickets. Those who have them, please get some. Chapter 145. A bunch of fools, a bunch of demons. Liang Yongqi, won't stay here anymore. Liang Yongqi walked out of Martial Path Mountain. He was so furious that tears were about to flow out. Were they still humans? They suppressed him so much. Not to mention Lin Fan, just that Zhang Tianshan, what was so good about him? He caused Martial Path Mountain to go bankrupt. Wasn't he the one who pulled him up? As for that Lin Fan, he was just a beast. He took away all the money on them and let himself eat and drink. Did he even have a conscience? Speaking of which, he was about to cry. He rode the horse and was about to leave without turning his head. Suddenly, he pulled the reins and stopped on the spot. The environment in front of him was a little terrifying. For some reason, he came to a really dense but dark forest. Something seemed to have flashed by just now. It was a red glow. The setting sun was slowly disappearing, and a warning line was drawn between the forest and the outside world. This warning line continued to shrink. A sense of danger surged into his heart. Like something terrifying was about to happen. His ears trembled slightly as he heard some very strange sounds. These sounds were really weak. Demons. He suddenly recalled that there were demons around Jiang City that would come out at night. Just at that moment, he noticed that the light that separated the two areas was shrinking. He was so terrified that his head was covered in sweat. Zhang Tianshan, you bastard, purposely angering me and running out without thinking. He pulled the reins and turned around to run. Quick, quick, run, horse, run. He turned his head occasionally. The setting sun slowly disappeared, and he could even see things slowly climbing out of the forest like they were waiting for the darkness to descend. Damn, save me! Liang Yongqi shouted. He was nearly frightened to death by his own stupidity. Usually, he would be able to take it. Why couldn't he take it today? Run. He had to run. If not, if the demons caught up, he would be ripped apart. Martial Path Mountain. Yuan Tianchu looked at the room that didn't light up. He didn't expect that Liang Yongqi would actually leave. How stupid. Even if he wanted to leave, he chose to leave in the morning. Night was about to descend, so wasn't he asking to die? Those things outside, who knew if he wouldn't bump into them? He left. Zhang Tianshan only saw Yuan Tianchu and didn't see Liang Yongqi. He was a little worried. Yes, he was humiliated by you and left in anger. Yuan Tianchu said. Zhang Tianshan's expression changed and he raged. Is he sick in the head? To leave now, does he want to die? As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Tianshan immediately went down the mountain. It was already dark. If that brat encountered a devil, he would have no chance of survival. Yuan Tianchu's expression changed. He didn't expect that Zhang Tianshan would personally go down the mountain to find Liang Yongqi. This was different from what he had expected. Logically speaking, Zhang Tianshan definitely wouldn't go, but his actions were a little problematic. He pondered for a moment. Yuan Tianchu was shocked. What a brilliant plan. He understood. Zhang Tianshan purposely insulted Liang Yongqi. Maybe he thought that Liang Yongqi wouldn't be able to take it and directly leave Martial Path Mountain. At that time, night would descend, and the demons would come out to make Liang Yongqi face them. When he was in despair, he would save him, leaving his image in Liang Yongji's heart. This made Liang Yongqi shed tears of gratitude and pulled him to his side. Wait a minute. What was so good about Liang Yongqi? No. So that was the case. He started from the weakest and slowly bought their hearts. In the future, when they fought for the sect leader position, everyone would stand by his side. Amazing, as expected, amazing. He planned step by step, actually thinking so far ahead. However, that was just so. Yuan Tianchu had already seen through it. It wouldn't be so easy to buy him over. Kiki. Yuan Tianchu felt that he was the most clear-headed of all of them. Even if their actions were deeply hidden, as long as a single clue was exposed, he would be able to unravel the cocoon and follow the vine to the melon to find the ultimate source. No one could hide from his eyes. When he thought about that, Yuan Tianchu smiled. He smiled confidently. He felt like he was an expert, no one's little secret could escape from his eyes. This idiot. Zhang Tianshan rode his horse and looked into the distance. Demon aura gathered there, and it was obvious that they had already moved out. He really didn't expect that the young people now were so fragile. He didn't say anything too overboard, so why were they so fragile? If it was other people, forget it. The key was that they lived in Martial Path Mountain for a period of time, so at least they had some feelings. Moreover, as the deputy sect leader, he was also the grand disciple, so how could he not care? He had to teach him when he returned. What young master? His mentality was just too weak. Not long later, he heard shouts. Don't chase me, I was wrong, let me go. Save me. I have a disease, my whole family has a disease, don't eat me. Liang Yongqi's face was covered in tears and mucus. The horse was running, and something was chasing behind. It was really quick, and in just a short while he would be caught. Instantly, a demon jumped into the air, spreading its limbs and pouncing towards Liang Yongqi. Liang Yongqi's pupils constricted. His pants were wet. He was in despair. I am going to die, I am really going to die. Father, I am leaving. Pung. Just at that moment, a white light exploded in front of Liang Yongqi and covered the Yin demon. The Yin demon roared like it had suffered some kind of injury. When it landed, its claws grabbed Liang Yongqi's horse, directly leaving a long bloody mark. The horse felt pain and tossed Liang Yongqi off. Liang Yongqi exclaimed, and his body shook. Just as he was in despair, a hand grabbed him. Kid, hold tight, I will take care of you when we return. Zhang Tianshan's expression was solemn. He pulled the reins and changed directions, heading towards Martial Path Mountain. When Liang Yongqi saw who it was, he instantly felt that the despicable Zhang Tianshan was like a hero who stepped on a rainbow cloud to welcome him. Deputy sect leader, I was afraid, I was wrong. Liang Yongqi was so frightened that he cried. His heart was really weak. He was scared witless by the Yin demons. Stop crying if you know fear, then why didn't you do it earlier? Zhang Tianshan held a bamboo tube, the length of a palm. He pinched it with 2 fingers and then tossed it behind him. A golden light seeped out from the broken bamboo tube, and it lit up Zhang Tianshan's back. The Yin demon screamed. But more Yin demons chased crazily towards Zhang Tianshan. Kid, can you stop moving your hands? If you continue, I will toss you down. Zhang Tianshan scolded. Liang Yongqi was too timid. After Zhang Tianshan saved him, he grabbed onto Zhang Tianshan. Life and death was a huge terror. He could be considered to have personally experienced that terror. Zhang Tianshan didn't even turn his head. More and more bamboo tubes appeared in his hands, and he just tossed them behind him. These things wouldn't kill the Yin demons, but they could stop the Yin demons. After a long while, Zhang Tianshan brought Liang Yongqi up Martial Path Mountain. The Yin demons followed closely behind, surrounding Martial Path Mountain. They screamed and then retreated like a flood. What are you thinking, do you really want to die? Zhang Tianshan asked. Liang Yongqi's face was ashen white and he shivered. No, I don't want to die. I regret it. Deputy sect leader, thank you for saving me. Zhang Tianshan smiled. Now you know that I am the deputy sect leader? And then, Liang Yongqi nodded his head. How would he dare to say no? What happened just now terrified him. If Zhang Tianshan hadn't rushed over in time, his life would have been lost. Yuan Tianshu saw Liang Yongqi return in a daze and understood that Zhang Tianshan had succeeded. That was the first step. Following that, there would be a second and third step. When he was free, he would head to the secret room to have a good chat with the Yin demons. The big Yin demons were the most tragic ones. At the start, the big Yin demons were unyielding, willing to fight against humans. They would rather die than submit. However, as the humans used more and more methods, they became more and more perverted. They couldn't take it anymore. Burning, stabbing, pulling out tongues, everything was perverted. There were already small Yin demons that were tortured to death. They couldn't take the frequent and strong attacks from the enemy. The Yin demons' rage points were limited. Such frequent torture made them used to it. Maybe because they gave up on themselves, their rage points didn't increase. What a waste. Their mentality wasn't strong enough. A few days later, night fell. In the Wolf Brigade forest, 3 people appeared. One of them was huge but looked really haggard. He was actually being supported by 2 small and weak bodies. The 2 small Yin demons that were supporting the big Yin demon screamed towards the forest. Very quickly there was movement. Numerous Yin demons appeared. When they saw those scenes, they didn't dare to believe their eyes. The Yin demons in the forest screamed and talked to the Yin demons that returned. We are back. Take a look at him. He was tortured so badly by the humans. Bastard, he is a demon. He tortured us in all sorts of ways. The 2 small Yin demons supported the big Yin demon as they walked into the darkness. The surrounding Een demons stared at the big Een demon. They were astonished. What happened? What kind of torture did the big Een demon face? Why did he feel like his mind wasn't clear? His body was bleeding black blood, and he even lost a lot of flesh, especially his back, which had a huge wound. What did he face? The big Een demon was really weak. He didn't have any strength at all. He was like a few hundred men locked in a room for days. The big Een demon was supported onto a stone and laid there. Een demons sent flesh and blood over. However, the big Een demon couldn't open his mouth. Even if he did, it was useless. He had no teeth, and many things on his body were dug out. The big Een demon looked at his race with his red eyes. His aura became weaker and weaker as he said with much difficulty, Remember, if you end up in the hands of that Marshall Path Mountain person, don't wait to be saved. Kill yourself, you have to kill yourself. The moment he said that, the big Een demon slowly closed his eyes. The pain in his body and mental state all disappeared at that moment. Numerous Een demons raised their heads and screamed. Why did that have to happen? We're just eating a little bit of human flesh. Is that wrong? Chapter 146. Rage Points, 20737. The rage points of the Een demons won't continue to grow. As they continue to be tortured, it will turn into fear, causing it to be unable to reach its peak. During this period of time, he slowly noticed the theory. If that was the case, to maximize the benefits, he had to shoot once and then slow down. After a period of time, when they forgot about the pain, he would shoot once more. To be more direct, he would beat them up. After a period of time, when they recovered and forgot about the pain, when their emotions returned to their peak, he would beat them up again. This cycle would continue. However, this was a little problematic. It wasn't his style. He didn't like to let go of people who offended him. Normally, he liked to kill them. However, if that was the case, he would suffer huge losses. Actually, it wasn't impossible. He was a rich family young master, and his hands weren't stained with blood. He had always been determined to be an exquisite rich family young master. He had to be magnanimous. He felt that he was a magnanimous person and was friendly to everyone. Even if they had conflicts, it wasn't a problem. He would just smile and forget about it. For example, Chen Xingyao. He told the Wolf Brigade to trample Marshall Path Mountain, but he didn't say anything and even smiled at him. Normal people couldn't reach such a mentality. Let's not think about all that and add points first. He would raise his internal strength first. Now his internal and external realms had reached peak Marshall Path Grade 9. Improved. His internal strength started to jump bit by bit. Now 1 point needed 400, and it was slowly increasing. However, it was still okay, and there weren't any huge fluctuations. Internal strength. 300, Marshall Path Grade 10. Instantly, the internal energy within his body exploded. Something was born out of nothing, and dense internal energy filled his body. He felt that he had truly stepped into the ranks of expert. Although he didn't know how strong he was, he definitely wasn't weak. He was left with 8,000 rage points, but he didn't use it to raise physique or mixed energy broken jade hand. He was the clearest about his current situation. Unmovable bright king body and purple sun 4 holy scripture, these two techniques, one focused on internal and the other focused on external, definitely couldn't be moved. Only Thunderblade 4 styles and mixed elements broken jade hand could be exchanged and refreshed. In the end, he didn't have enough rage points. If he had enough, then there wouldn't be so many problems. He was not in a hurry. This was just the beginning. He had not reached the end yet. He realized that cultivation was really a technical activity. It was not easy to do without some brains. Marshall Path Mountain Dining Area. Sect Leader, I noticed that the furniture you bought for me has been used. Those merchants are so despicable. Zhang Tianshan was furious, but he could accept it. He just grumbled a little. Lin Fan said, "Yes, there are profiteers everywhere. In the future, you have to be careful when you buy things." At this moment, Zhang Tianshan's bowl was empty. Liang Yongqi placed down his bowl and chopsticks and scooped porridge for Zhang Tianshan. Zhang Tianshan was used to it. He looked at what Lin Fan was eating and said enviously, "Sect leader, when can the few of us eat that of yours? We are sick of eating plain porridge every day." Lin Fan looked at Liang Yongqi. Did this fellow see a ghost? In just a few days, he was so respectful to Zhang Tianshan? "You guys don't need to. My cousin and I are weak, and we need these to replenish our energy. You guys are healthy and eating too much isn't good for your health," Lin Fan said. F***ck. Was this something a human could say? He was just shameless. Zhang Tianshan was speechless. "You are amazing, I haven't found any words to retort." His heart was tired. Martial Path Mountain was filled with unfairness. As the deputy sect leader, he had the responsibility to let the people of Martial Path Mountain enjoy fair treatment. But the kid was a little fierce. Yuan Tianshu drank the porridge and slowly became silent. He looked on with a sneaky gaze. Replenish, continue to replenish, in the end, you will realize that you have nothing. Didn't he see the relationship between Liang Yongqi and Zhang Tianshan? The two of them were bickering with one another a while ago, but now they weren't. Didn't he feel a bit of danger? Now that Martial Path Mountain was preparing to be repaired, Go Zi found people to work on the requests that Lin Fan told Go Zi. Fake mountain fountain. 3-story leisure building. There were many places that needed to be repaired. Anyways, it would cost a large sum of silver to fix everything. Jiang City. The commoners returned to normal. The only change was that when the sky was about to turn dark, no matter how busy they would return to the city and not stay outside. The city was safe, but that didn't mean that demons didn't exist. Chen Xingyao didn't have time to mess around with the commoners. Father was dead, and Chen family lacked a pillar. The merchants in the city didn't give them face and were fighting for territory with them. If not for Manager Yu trying to persuade them, he would have raised his blade and chopped them all to death. In the past, they didn't have the balls to fight with my Chen family. The moment my father died, all of them jumped out. City gate. A girl mixed into the crowd and entered the city. Very quickly, she disappeared. Not long later, 3 males rode horses into the city, but they were stopped by the guards. Horses weren't allowed in. The 3 of them had blades by their waist. One of them had a fierce gaze and wanted to slash the guard to death. However, he was stopped by the people at the side. "Remember our mission, don't cause trouble." The one-eyed male got off the horse and looked at the guard. Once the mission ended, he would kill him. If the guard found out, just because he said that horses weren't allowed in the city and one had to get off the horse, he would be hated. He would definitely shout that he was wronged. He didn't do anything wrong, so why did they want to kill him? Couldn't they be more reasonable? "Big brother, where are we going to find her?" the one-eyed male asked. "There is no rush, she can't escape." The male who was called Big Brother had a black iron mask on half his face. His gaze was really sharp. He didn't care about such a small city like Jiang City. He then saw the notice on the city walls and directly tore it down. "Let's go to Chen family. Chen Manor." Chen Xingyao's days didn't change much. But in his heart, he was still thinking about Prince Shaoqi. It wasn't easy for a guy to think about another guy. Without a certain level of feelings, one definitely wouldn't be able to do that. Suddenly, Li Tsong charged in. "Young master, not good." Someone kicked open our Chen Manor door and charged in. "He even injured many of us." "What?" Chen Xingyao got up, his face was dark and sunken. "Who doesn't want to live? Do they think that I am easy to bully? Let's go and see who it is." Oh. The 3 men stood there, and there were quite a few servants lying around them. The servants were howling in grief, in great pain. Chen Xingyao charged out in rage and hollered, "Hu, Shua!" He didn't finish. A snow-white blade was on his shoulder. It was close to his neck, and one could feel the cold sharpness. "Do you want to die or live?" the masked male asked coldly. Gulp. Chen Xingyao shifted his feet and wanted to move the blade away, but the blade followed his footsteps. His face was covered in cold sweat. It came too quickly and he wasn't prepared at all. "This. Good man, let's talk things out, don't be rash," Chen Xingyao said nervously. What kind of world was this? His father had just died and so many things had come to his door. "Father, how much trouble did you cause for me? Now those bastards in the city are snatching my territory, and someone came to my door with a blade. My heart couldn't take it. Look carefully, do you recognize the girl in the picture?" Chen Xingyao stared at the picture. "Good man, I can't remember this picture. Why don't you tell me the name and I will find it for you?" The masked male said, "Yang Fei, father Yang Yi, mother Qin Yu. She and her mother are the only ones in the family. Father died a long time ago." This. Chen Xingyao sensed thick, killing intent from his body. He wasn't joking, and if he didn't know, then he would really die. Oh my God! Who did he offend? At that moment, he noticed that the blade on his neck was a little closer. He was a little impatient and was about to attack. He was so terrified that his soul was about to fly away. "Li Tsong, where did you die to? Come out and see whether or not you recognize this person," Chen Xingyao shouted. When Li Tsong saw the situation, he hid behind the pillar and didn't dare to come out. However, since young master called him, he didn't dare to not come out. "Good men, don't be rash. Let me take a look." Li Tsong's hands trembled as he took a close look at the picture. "Hurry up and tell this hero where this woman's home is." "Hero, don't be rash. I'll help you capture this woman and torture her," said Chen Xingyao. "They came out of nowhere and they didn't even know their names. If they were killed because of this, they wouldn't even be able to cry." Li Tsong panicked. "Don't rush, I am looking. I am thinking that she does look familiar. Oh, I know, it is in the west of the city." The three of them looked at one another. "Go, bring us there. Don't think about playing tricks. If you lie to us, your head will fall to the ground. If it is true, then we will let you live." The masked male said. "West of the city. The houses here were all next to each other. It was really tough to find people here, but luckily they had names." Li Tsong pulled a passerby. "Where is Yang Shi's home?" The passerby shrunk his neck. "It is in front." Instantly, the three of them released Chen Xingyao and dashed forward. Chen Xingyao and Li Tsong ran right away. If they didn't run now, then they would be fools. Where did these three lunatics come from? They even dared to kidnap the Chen family young master. Did they still want to live in Jiang City? The three of them came to an old and broken house. The one-eyed male kicked the door open. He saw a person lying on the bed and charged over to grab her. However, he noticed that the old woman had no aura at all. The corpse was still warm, and it was obvious that she had just died. "Big brother, she is dead," the one-eyed male shouted. The masked male walked in and saw the dead old woman. His expression was really ugly. Yang Fei, as expected from the gang leader's concubine. She is so vicious and doesn't even show mercy when killing her own mother. "Big brother, this place was opened. It seems like she took the thing away." Another male looked at a brick that was removed. There was a palm-sized space inside. The masked male thought about it. "Search, she hasn't left Jiang City," the masked male said coldly. The bug in the box by his waist didn't move, which meant that it was nearby and hadn't left. Chapter 147. Chen Xingyao was so scared that he didn't dare to return to the Chen family. He could only hide outside with Li Kong. Where did these three burly men come from? Never seen it before. Just like that, he appeared out of nowhere, holding a knife to his neck and threatening him. This was something Chen Xingyao could not accept. As the Chen family's young master, when had he ever been threatened like this before? This was clearly looking down on the Chen family. Young master, where are we going now? Li Tsong was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bowstring as he observed the situation around him. He had never experienced the feeling of being threatened in Rivertown, especially in the Chen family. Chen Xingyao's face was gloomy. Let's hide first. We won't return to the Chen family for the time being. Those despicable guys will probably look for us after seeing us run. Young master, why not head to Marshall Path Mountain? Li Tsong said. He was thinking about Marshall Path Mountain. Since he saw Lin Fan's strength, he felt that Marshall Path Mountain was the safest place if he faced trouble. Shua. Li Tsong felt that young master's gaze was filled with killing intent. Holy shit! Did I say something wrong again? He didn't feel that he had said anything wrong. Wasn't it normal to seek help from an expert when in danger? Li Tsong, do you know what will happen if we go to Marshall Path Mountain? Don't tell me about Marshall Path Mountain. Even if I die, I won't go. Chen Xingyao said fiercely. He was sick in the head. Chen family and Marshall Path Mountain had conflict. If they headed to Marshall Path Mountain when they faced danger, then where would Chen family's face be? Li Tsong looked at Chen Xingyao. Something wasn't right. A while ago when Jiang City was uncertain whether or not it was safe, didn't young master run to Marshall Path Mountain to seek refuge? Why did he feel that it was inappropriate this time? Or was it that the danger was not clear? He had yet to feel the immense pressure from the crisis. But there was no other way. Whatever the young master said, how would Li Tsong dare to refute? Yes, young master is right. We won't head to Marshall Path Mountain. Li Tsong agreed with young master, but he was thinking about where to hide was the safest. So many things had never happened in Rivertown before. During this period of time, there were more and more things happening. There were so many of them that it was scary. Jiang City was shrouded in an unprecedented crisis. In the end, Chen Xingyao brought Li Tsong to hide in the biggest brothel in the city. In such a place, no one should be able to find them. Within Jiang City, the three men were still searching for Yang Fei. Yang Fei was the gang leader's concubine. She had been in hiding for many years and had stolen the gang's most respected treasure. If it wasn't for the fact that it was discovered early, it would have been very difficult for them to find out. Big bro, if we continue to search like this, who knows how long we'll have to continue? The one-eyed man said. The masked man's face was cold. Then, he squatted down and placed his palm on the ground. Instantly, his arm was covered with countless tiny insects. These insects were smaller than grains of rice, and they quickly attacked in all directions. Since we can't find her, then we'll just force her out. There are people dying in this small city, and they died for her. The masked man said. Although these insects would not actively attack people, they like to attach themselves to the human body, entering the body through various small holes, slowly laying eggs in the human body, and then breaking out of the eggs. At the same time, it was extremely useful in finding Yang Fei. Therefore, if someone was infected, they could only blame their bad luck. The next day, Old Li was a pork vendor. Although he looked a bit fierce, he had a gentle personality and had a good relationship with the surrounding residents. Old Li, your face doesn't look good. Are you sick? The regular customer who came to buy meat felt that Old Li's face was ashen white, and there was no blood at all. His eyes were blurry and there were small black dots. No, I have always been good, Old Li said. His voice was really soft and weak. Maybe it is a cold. The regular customer didn't think much about it and lowered his head to pick the meat. Suddenly, fresh blood slowly flowed on the meat stall. Old Li, how did your pig blood? The customer raised his head. Before he finished, he saw that Old Li's mouth was covered in fresh blood. There was also a large amount of blood flowing from his nose. They exclaimed. The commoners all gathered over. When they saw old Li's state, they were all shocked. Damn! What happened? What was going on with old Li? Why did he bleed so much? Did he get sick? Old Li's stomach moved. He opened his mouth, and a large number of black worms gushed out, landing directly on the stall. These worms were pitch black and had hard shells. They were very, very small, and they were all larvae. They were many times smaller than rice grains. If one didn't look carefully, they would probably be ignored as dust. At this moment, not only were bugs surging out from his mouth, but even his nostrils and eyes had large amounts of bugs surging out. The commoners panicked and shouted. When had they seen such a scene before? They were so terrified that their souls flew away. The area around the stall was occupied by bugs. Those bugs pounced on Old Li and covered him. Quickly find young Master Chen. They remembered that the prince told them to find young Master Chen if they had any problems. Chen Manor's gate was broken by the commoners. Steward Yu was dumbfounded. Something happened in the city, and they needed young Master to solve it. Oh my God! Were these commoners real or fake? Did they really care about the prince's words? Didn't they know what kind of person their young master was? They actually came here to find young master. Why did it feel like they treated young master as their protector? Manager Yu, Old Li who sells pork is in trouble. Is young Master Chen here? We are anxiously waiting for him to settle the situation. The commoners blocked the gate and asked about young Master Chen's whereabouts. Quiet, my young master wasn't here last night and isn't here now. Manager Yu said. He couldn't handle the changes. In the past, the commoners feared the Chen family, but looking at the situation, it was different. Why did it feel like the commoners treated young master as their pillar? What? Young Master Chen isn't here? What should we do? I know where young Master Chen is. Yesterday I saw young Master Chen head to the brothel. Let's go, let's head to the brothel to find young Master Chen. Only young Master Chen can solve this. Instantly, the commoners scattered and headed towards the brothel. Jiang City's brothel was huge. The old brothel owner waited at the entrance. Recently business wasn't good and she was helpless. The girls were all complaining that there weren't any customers. Suddenly, she saw commoners surge over from afar and they all pointed at the brothel. Oh my God! A huge business was about to arrive. The commoners ate their fill and had extra money to spend here. That was definitely the case. There was definitely no mistake. Girls come out to receive the guests. A large number of important guests are here. The old brothel owner smiled. Just as she went up to receive them, the commoners pushed her aside. Young Master Chen, young Master Chen. The commoners charged into the brothel to search for young Master Chen. The old brothel owner was pushed to the ground and cursed in her heart. Damn, what was going on? Didn't they come to enjoy themselves? Why did it feel like they came to find someone? Within the brothel's top girl's room, Chen Xingyao laid on the bed comfortably. Coming here last night was the right decision. Not only did he feel comfortable, but he also ensured his safety. But the door was pushed open. A bunch of commoners surged in. The girl serving Chen Xingyao shouted in panic. What happened? Young Master Chen came to the brothel and people dared to cause trouble. Chen Xingyao was so frightened that he jumped up. He was naked and thought that those 3 people were attacking him. When he saw that it was a bunch of commoners, he reacted. Damn! What did they want to do? Were they arrogant, or was it that Chen Xingyao couldn't even lift a blade? Young Master Chen, we finally found you. Something happened, the pork seller Old Li died, and he died in such a tragic manner. Right, young Master Chen, only you can take charge of the situation. The commoners said one by one. Some of them wanted to bring Chen Xingyao away. Wait, I will wear my clothes. Chen Xingyao waved his hands. Oh my God, were the commoners so fierce? They weren't afraid of Chen Xingyao. This was simply unbelievable. Also, What did the death of the pork seller have to do with him? When Li Tsong heard that there was movement, he pulled up his pants and was prepared to charge over. However, when he saw so many commoners, he suppressed himself. He couldn't be too rash and had to look at the situation. Chen Xingyao was surrounded by a bunch of commoners as he walked out of the brothel. His mind was in a mess. He was having a good time, so what were they doing? What was going on that caused things to turn out like this? I'm not AF** King God. Why are you looking for me when there's a murder? He was the rich Qin family young master. Thinking back to what Prince Shao Qi said before he left, he felt that the commoners believed his words. Very quickly, under the protection of the commoners, Chen Xingyao came to old Li's stall. Many commoners surrounded him. Move aside, young Master Chen is here. Let young Master Chen in. Some commoners shouted. Instantly there was a round of cheers. Young Master Chen is here. Let young Master Chen see what is going on. Hearing those voices, Chen Xingyao felt bitter in his heart. What was the point of him coming? He wasn't a detective. If it was bullying girls or slashing people, he would be more skilled. As for this, they found the wrong person. However, when he looked at the situation, he nearly spat out the food he ate last night. Old Li's death was really tragic. As time went on, his flesh and blood were eaten by the bugs, and one could see his white bones. Young master, this situation isn't something we can handle, Li Tsong said softly. Were the commoners fools? Couldn't they see how tragic the person who died was? Did they really think that young master knew about all this? I know, Chen Xingyao said and then looked at the commoners. He was bitten to death by bugs. The commoners discussed. Young Master Chen was right, Old Li was bitten to death by bugs. Chen Xingyao didn't dare to get close to take a look. Didn't they see that the bugs were still alive? At the same time, more bugs surged out from Old Li's body, and he felt like there were more and more of them. Young Master Chen, you have to find out the truth about why Old Li was bitten to death by bugs, otherwise we won't be able to feel at ease. The commoners placed their hopes on Chen Xingyao. Chen Xingyao was helpless. Damn. What did this have to do with me? What was the point of calling me over? Chapter 148. Chen Xingyao was annoyed. Where do you want me to find the truth? If he had to say it, the truth was very simple. The butcher had eaten something unclean, and the worms had escaped. It was so simple. But he felt that things weren't so simple. Last night, after those 3 men came to Qin Manor, there was a murder. It definitely had something to do with those 3. But those 3 weren't people to be offended. So what if he knew who it was? He would tell them who did it. If they had the balls, then attack. In the crowd, Yang Fei looked at the situation and retreated. She was searching for a chance to leave. She was even thinking about how to kill the 3 of them to end the danger. However, she knew that it was tough. Unless she had helpers. At the scene, Chen Xingyao told people to burn the corpses. With those bugs gathered together, it was just so disgusting. The commoners lit the fire and didn't dare to get close. They only dared to toss the torches over from afar. Zzz. The flames burned brighter and brighter. There was also that crunching sound. What was more terrifying was that there was actually the smell of roasted bugs. It was a little perverted and disgusting. Qin Manor. Young master, what do you think the commoners treat us as? Li Tsong asked. Jiang City had a prefect, but that prefect was just a figurehead. Before Prince Shao Qi left, he told the people to find Qin family if they had any problems. Didn't that mean that Qin family had to do things for the commoners? If old master was still alive, he would definitely spit out blood. My Qin family started off as bandits and killed many people. What bad things have we not done? Now you are actually helping commoners to do things. Where is the honor of my Qin family? I treat it as doing things, Chen Xingyao said. He treated it like it was free. Everything was given to him by the prince. He didn't feel anything, but now he noticed that there was a trap within. Moreover, he was willing to jump into it. It was true that the mountains were high and the emperor was far away. The key was that it was hard to stop the commoners. It was easy to spread it out. If the prince found out that not only did he not do things, but he was also going against him, that he would stop everything and stare at him. Would he be afraid? Truth? Where would he find the truth? The next day, Jiang City shook once more. 2 more people died. They died in the same way as the pork seller. The people of Jiang City fell into a state of panic again. The gates of the Chern Manor were trampled on once again. Chern Xingyao was annoyed to the point that he couldn't sit still anymore. Damn. Why do you have to stare at me? I can't do anything about it. However, the inexplicable deaths made Chern Xingyao panic. At this rate, no one knew who would be the next to die. Martial Path Mountain. Lin Fan was lying on a deck chair worth tens of taels of silver, eating fruits and swinging his legs. He was carefree and happy. His life was very leisurely. In just a short while, Martial Path Mountain would be brand new and a huge change would occur. Sect leader Lin. He was really happy and even tried to suck up to him. Lin Fan glanced. The one who spoke was Li Kong. As for Chern Xingyao, he walked over slowly, looking a little unwilling. Damn. He actually came. He didn't want to have anything to do with Martial Path Mountain. After all, they had conflict. However, Chern Xingyao was on the verge of a mental breakdown after the insect-killing case that had happened in the past 2 days. The people trusted him and surrounded the Chern Manor every day. If his father wasn't dead and he let them surround him, they would definitely regret having one less leg. Lin Fan didn't bother and just laid there leisurely. Go Zi waved his fan at the side. Young master was used to such a life. Li Tsong saw that Lin Fan didn't bother about him, so he stood beside young master. It was better for young master to speak. Chern Xingyao took in a deep breath and said, Sect leader Lin, are you resting? Aren't you talking nonsense? Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 66. Chern Xingyao squinted his eyes. Could he speak properly? He was just concerned about whether or not he was resting. Why did he have to say that? Why did he have to say that? It was just too hurtful. However, he had no choice. He was forced by the Jiang City people such that he didn't dare to head out. The moment he did, he would be surrounded by people asking about the truth of the bug-killing case. He wanted to holler. He wasn't a detective. He was just a rich family young master. Chern Xingyao calmed down the helplessness in his heart. Sect leader Lin, recently there has been a bug-killing case. I hope that Sect leader Lin can take a look and help solve it. Lin Fan turned his head and said, Are you representing the Jiang City people, or just you? Chern Xingyao was stunned. Didn't that mean that it was the same for everyone? I represent the Jiang City people. Not bad. Lin Fan was interested. He didn't expect that before Martial Path Mountain opened, business would come so quickly. It seems like young Master Chen is the representative of the Jiang City people and wants to hire Martial Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. How about 48,000 silver a year? Lin Fan said. Chern Xingyao was stunned. Sect leader Lin, what is this money? Lin Fan said, This is a protection fee. If Jiang City has problems that you can't solve, then we will. In the future, as long as Jiang City has problems, my Martial Path Mountain won't sit still and not do anything. Damn. That was just too much. 4,000 silver a month. He was robbing money. Sect leader Lin, this has nothing to do with me. I am just representing the Jiang City people to find Martial Path Mountain for help. Chern Xingyao said. Lin Fan smiled. If it has nothing to do with you, then why did you come? It isn't that Martial Path Mountain doesn't want to help for free, but we have no choice. We have a huge business and many people in the future. Without income, what will Martial Path Mountain eat and drink? Am I right? Moreover, is 4,000 a month expensive? It isn't expensive at all. The people in the city are happy to take out 1 copper each, and that is enough. Zhang Tianshan made Marshall Path Mountain bankrupt, and that was the outcome of not having any business. He wouldn't follow in his footsteps. Sect Leader Lin, your Marshall Path Mountain only has 6 people, so how will it not have enough to eat and wear? Li Tsong said. He felt that Marshall Path Mountain was really evil. All they cared about was money. I am talking about the future. Young Master Chen, you should think about it. You can find me when you are done, Lin Fan said. He then closed his eyes and leisurely enjoyed life. Chen Xingyao didn't leave. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he really couldn't. As long as he returned, the people would surround him and ask him about this and that, making his head hurt. In the end, what did this have to do with him? Actually, it had nothing to do with him at all. Sect Leader Lin, can you make it cheaper? Chen Xingyao asked. 4,000 a month was a little expensive. If he had to pay, he would have to pay for it first. If he couldn't, then he would have to pay. Before coming to Marshall Path Mountain, he had thought about it. He had to pay something. Skills don't bargain. Moreover, it is tough for Marshall Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. Sometimes when danger comes, Marshall Path Mountain people have to charge up. They are all risking their lives. Or is young Master Chen's life not worth 48,000 a year? Lin Fan was really calm. Defending against the Yin demons cost 60,000 a year. If they negotiated this Jiang City job, then Marshall Path Mountain's net income would be 108,000 silver a year. This was already a terrifying number. Chen Xingyao felt really bitter. Damn. Your Royal Highness, you really screwed me over. If you gave me some benefits, I would have some motivation. Now I felt like I was trapped. Go Zi listened on and realized that young master had a talent in business. When he was in Yu City, he didn't see it. Who knew that after coming to Jiang City, young master's talent exploded out? Fortunately, Zhang Tianshan wasn't here. If he knew that protecting Jiang City required 48,000 a year, he would have been terrified. The price was too bold. If he was the one asking for it, a few thousand a year would do. Li Tsong said softly, Young Master, why not set up a Marshall Path Mountain Protection Organization in Jiang City and split it among everyone? Actually, there isn't much. If we solve this matter quickly, then we can be at ease. Those 3 men are still in the city, so only Marshall Path Mountain can solve it. That was the truth. Bugs killing people made one panic. To Chen Xingyao and Li Tsong, bugs killing people was still okay. The key was those 3 men. If they didn't agree with one word, they would pull out their blades and threaten them. That was the true danger. Chen Xingyao thought about it for a long while. Okay. Lin Fan smiled. Let's go, let's head to the city. He brought his cousin over while the others stayed behind to defend Marshall Path Mountain. Marshall Path Mountain hadn't even opened, but they already had a long-term income. This meant that Marshall Path Mountain had a future. Jiang City, commoner houses. The commoners surrounded outside and no one dared to enter. It was so terrifying inside. The moment Chen Xingyao arrived, he was surrounded by commoners. It was tough for him to kill a path out. Could they let him settle the matter first? Now that they were all surrounding him, how was he supposed to deal with it? Sect Leader Lin, 2 people died today. This is one of them, the one who sold pork was burned. Chen Xingyao said. Lin Fan pushed the door and entered. The room was still lit up. There was a corpse on the bed, but it couldn't be called a corpse anymore as it was covered by black bugs. Moreover, there were some bugs in the corners of the room. Suddenly, a small bug landed on his face, quickly entering his nostrils and entering his body. Lin Fan didn't kill the bug, but he sensed the changes in his body. After the bug landed in his body, it started to lay eggs. It was really quick, unlike normal bugs. So that was the case. He used internal strength to kill the bugs and eggs in his body. Those people had bugs enter their bodies and large amounts of eggs were laid. When the eggs hatched, they directly broke out of their bodies. Although he knew. But it was far from enough. Why would there be these bugs in a place like Jiang City? He had to dig out the mastermind. Silver wasn't so easy to earn. After taking it, he had to do work. How tiring. When he saw bugs, he thought about the bug controlling technique. This cultivation technique was for playing with bugs. Refresh. He raised the bug controlling technique to the returning to true realm. Instantly, he saw that there was a slight, or rather negligible, black aura on the bugs' bodies. Of course, this method of controlling bugs couldn't be compared to the bug controlling technique. It was a really low method. Chapter 149. Outside the room, Chen Xingyao was really anxious. What was going on? Who knew if they saw any problems? At that moment, Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao walked out of the room. Chen Xingyao asked right away, "How is it, are there any leads?" What he was most concerned about was whether or not there were any lead. He was really annoyed by the commoners. He went to visit a prostitute and was caught on the spot. How was he going to live? Should he use a blade to chop those fellows to death? Or did they not want to live anymore? He was visiting a prostitute, what did they want to do? Haze. Chen Xingyao felt really bitter. He didn't even know what to say. He only felt that after His Royal Highness came to Jiang City, his trajectory had changed. Lin Fan smiled. Go back and prepare the money. We will solve this matter tonight. Chen Xingyao was delighted. It was obvious that he had found some leads. Okay, I will go back and prepare. I will pay for a month first. A month? You have to pay annually. If you don't agree, I will leave now and act like nothing happened. Lin Fan said. Damn. That was too much of a beast. For the first time, Chen Xingyao realized that people could be hated to such an extent. Rage points plus 88. He didn't pay monthly and had to pay annually. That was just too despicable. Okay, no problem. When he said that, he gritted his teeth. Who could understand the pain in his heart? He was in a rush to gather the rich merchants of Jiang City. It was impossible for him to fork out the money alone, so he had to get someone else to help him. The organization that Li Tsong mentioned was a good choice. He had a high chance of earning a huge sum. Of course, he knew that it wouldn't be easy to make those people fork out money. Unless the Yin demons wiped out their entire race once more, then the merchants would be afraid. As for this bug-killing incident, only 3 commoners died. To the merchants it was just a light rain, and it wasn't time for them to worry. That night, Jiang City was really quiet. The commoners went home early. Even those who sold snacks closed their stalls and didn't do business. The bug-killing incident caused many commoners to panic. The Yin demons killed the rich merchants, and now the bugs were killing the commoners. How could they not be afraid? Cousin, how do we find it? Zhou Zhongmao asked. The streets were empty and the doors of the shops were tightly shut. It was very deserted. If it wasn't for the fact that there were living people, one would have thought that this was a ghost town. Don't rush, take your time. Lin Fan raised the bug-controlling technique to the returning to true realm. Under the support of the thick and endless internal strength, his senses could reach 1,000 meters. A gray aura invisible to the naked eye emanated from his body. That was the special internal strength of the bug-controlling technique. Feng Poliu probably didn't expect that Insect Valley's unbreakable secret, bug-controlling technique, would be learned by someone just like that. Moreover, he could casually raise it to the highest realm. This cultivation technique was very powerful. If one's inner force was strong enough, then the range of his senses would be even further. In Lin Fan's perception, the ants hiding under the bricks, the earthworms crawling in the mud, and even the insects flying in the air were all under his control. But these were not what he was looking for. Even though Zhang Xian didn't know what the black insect he saw earlier in the day was, It was clear that it wasn't an ordinary insect since it was able to break out of a human's body. Lin Fan moved slowly and swept through every single corner of Jiang City. He noticed it. Within a civilian house, a male laid on the bed in pain. There were bugs laying eggs in his body, affecting his body greatly. The gray special internal strength pounced over and killed all the bugs in his body. On the next day, the shit that he excreted should be called bug shit. It was made up of the corpses of bugs. As he continued to sense, he realized that there were many of these bugs in Jiang City. They were hidden really deep, and normal people could suck them into their bodies if they didn't pay attention. Moreover, many commoners had such bugs in their bodies. If he didn't clean them up tonight, more people would die tomorrow. More and more would die the day after. Maybe in just a short time the entire city would die. Using the bug controlling technique to sense the surroundings consumed a lot of internal strength. If it was a normal person, they would feel like their body was slowly being emptied. But Lin Fan didn't feel that way. Instead, he felt like there were no changes. Everything was normal. After leaving U City, he realized that to survive alone, to have a good life, one had to pay a lot. For example, now, the sky was dark. He should have slept long ago, but for money, he could only come out to work. He worked so hard to tell everyone that he, Lin Fan, came out from U City and could rely on his own hard work to live the life of a rich young master. In the distance, Yang Fei was found and was being chased by 3 guys. Yang Fei, hand over the thing and follow us back, the one-eyed male said fiercely, slashing towards Yang Fei's shoulder. Gang leader said that as long as she was alive, it was okay even if her limbs were chopped off. This was why he slashed at Yang Fei's limbs. However, Yang Fei dodged it cleverly. The 4 figures chased after her, exchanging blows with each other. However, to Yang Fei, she alone was no match for the 3 of them. The masked male didn't say anything, internal strength gathered in his palm. This was green internal strength, like it contained a terrifying poison. His palm moved slightly and a green tail appeared. Without hesitation, he slapped out, hitting Yang Fei's shoulder. With a kacha, her shoulder bones were dislocated, her clothes were corroded, and a palm mark was left. The snow-white skin on her shoulder had a green palm mark. "Big brother, gang leader wants her alive," the one-eyed male said. The masked male said, "Don't worry, she won't die." Yang Fei was strong, but facing the 3 of them, as long as they caught up, she could forget about running. So what if she hid in Jiang City and didn't come out? They could force her out. It was a small matter if some people died. The bugs were doing things, so it was easy for them to find her. Yang Fei had 9 bug gang's precious items and was supposed to be sent to Insect Valley. However, she stopped her. She was prepared to leave 9 bug gang, but who knew that such a problem would occur? She was discovered early. She could only leave early, but she was still chased. The uninhabited streets had become a place where the 4 of them fought. Yang Fei knew that if she continued to run, she wouldn't be able to escape. Why not give it a try? Maybe she would have a chance to live. Yang Fei, hand over the thing, the masked male said coldly. The 3 of them stood in a row, blocking off Yang Fei's path. Yang Fei was petite, her looks weren't outstanding, but she had a special aura. Let's see whether or not you all have the ability. Just as the 4 of them were prepared to fight, a leisurely voice spread into their ears. Slowly searching, I finally found all of you. Lin Fan brought Zhou Zhongmao out from the darkness. He had already killed numerous bugs. Under the suppression of the bug controlling technique's special internal strength, these bugs couldn't fight back at all. To Zhou Zhongmao, he didn't know what cousin was doing. He just walked and he actually found her. That was just too magical. Actually, how would he know that cousin didn't rely on luck, but on sweeping the area and finally confirming the location of the target? Lin Fan's appearance had the 4 of them bewildered. Kid, this has nothing to do with you, scram to the side, the one-eyed male said fiercely. He felt like if he didn't listen to him, he would kill him. The Jiang City bugs killing people should be done by you all, right? Lin Fan sized up the 4 of them, 3 males and 1 female. They were enemies, having conflicts and fighting one another. Especially that girl, she should have been injured. However, what was with that gaze of yours? Why did it feel like you were thinking about something unfriendly? Kid, who are you? The masked male asked. To appear here in the middle of the night and not be afraid when he saw them, it was obvious that he was confident in himself. People who were confident, apart from fools, had some ability. The one-eyed male was impatient. Big brother, why ask so much, just kill them. I am asking you all, did you all do it? Why is it so difficult? Are you all sick in the head? Just answer my question. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. Lin Fan's words infuriated the 3 of them. In a small city, there was actually someone who dared to say such words to them. Kiki. What a magical species. Yang Fei looked at Lin Fan and then at Zhou Zhongmao. She felt like they didn't look like experts. However, at such a stage, she wouldn't let go of any chance. Maybe she could use the 2 of them as shields to fight for a chance to escape. The one-eyed male said viciously, Kid, are you sick in the head? Let me tell you, we did it. Even if you want to leave, you won't be able to. Very good. Lin Fan understood. It was good that he admitted it. He was just afraid that he had hit the wrong person. As a rich family young master, he didn't randomly hit people. Everything he said was logical. Young masters, please save me. They want to attack me. Yang Fei ran towards Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. She wanted to run behind them and push them towards the 3 of them when they weren't paying attention. She would have a high chance of escaping then. Just as Yang Fei got close to Lin Fan punched her stomach. With a purring, Yang Fei's expression froze. Her body bent and she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her eyes were filled with shock. How did this happen? Lin Fan grabbed Yang Fei's hair and lifted her up. What poor acting skills. You aren't serious enough to act in front of me. He reached out and took out a box from her clothes. The things in the box gave him a bad feeling. He tossed Yang Fei to his cousin. Cousin grabbed her head and smashed it towards the ground. The green bricks cracked and her entire head was buried deep into the ground. What poor acting skills. You want to lie to my cousin, and you have to ask whether or not I agree. Zhou Zhongmao said. Damn. If Yang Fei didn't faint, she would have exclaimed, How did I meet such a lunatic? Lin Fan was satisfied with cousin's improvement. To be able to see such poor acting skills was not bad. P.S. There are 2 more chapters I am writing. Chapter 150. When the 3 men from 9 bug gangs saw such a random scene, they found it really weird. Damn. What was going on with the 2 of them? They thought about many possibilities. For example, they thought they were heroes, the 2 of them saving the beauty. In the end, Yang Fei used them and they died while saving the beauty. But they didn't expect him to attack right away. He saw through it. Or was his goal the same as theirs? When they saw the box in Lin Fan's hand, the 3 of them had an idea. This was what they needed. Hand the box over. The masked male said fiercely. They chased Yang Fei for this box. Lin Fan looked at the 3 of them. Jiang City commoners spend 48,000 silver a year for my Martial Path Mountain to protect them. You killed people here, that means you aren't giving Martial Path Mountain face, so I have to teach you a lesson. Or rather, a painful lesson. Cousin. Pung. Cousin understood what cousin meant. He didn't say any nonsense and attacked right away. The one-eyed male couldn't take it anymore and charged over with his blade. However, to Zhou Zhongmao, he was still too weak. He was far from being on the same level as him. On the other hand, the masked male had some ability. Pung. Pung. Zhou Zhongmao grabbed his blade and clenched his fingers. Under his shocked gaze, the blade directly shattered. The broken blade floated in the air. You are still too weak. Instantly, cousin opened his fingers and slapped. Those broken blades were guided and stabbed into his body. They broke out of his body along with blood and flesh. Hong Long. Fresh blood seeped from the corner of the one-eyed male's mouth. He looked at Zhou Zhongmao in shock and then slowly fell. He didn't expect that he would be instantly killed. Amazing. Lin Fan praised. Cousin's methods were not bad. Especially towards enemies, he was really vicious. Basically, he wouldn't leave anyone alive if he could kill them. However, that wasn't good. You should at least let your cousin accumulate some rage points. Cousin, come back, Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao said, Cousin, there are 2 more. You don't need to do this, I will do it, Lin Fan said. If he let him do it, then he wouldn't have earned anything tonight. The masked male and the other male beside him had solemn expressions. They didn't underestimate the 2 of them anymore. This was an expert. Who are you? We are from 9 Bug Gang. We are on orders to take back our items, the masked male said. Although he was furious that one of his men had been killed, he also knew that the other party was very strong. Even if he continued to fight, it would only result in both sides suffering heavy losses. By right, for the sake of long-term rage, it was normal to let these 2 go. But for some reason, he only wanted to kill these 2 people or let his cousin kill these 2 people. Lin Fan threw the box to his cousin and walked a few steps forward. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. I'll give you 3 seconds to be angry, otherwise you really won't have a chance. Rage points plus 444 rage points plus 555 1. 2 rage points plus 555 rage points plus 666. Lin Fan waited and didn't count to 3. He didn't expect that the 2 of them wouldn't provide rage points either. Wasn't he angry enough? The half-masked man's face gradually darkened. It seemed that he would not be able to complete the mission if he did not decide the winner. He already knew that his opponent was an expert. If he didn't take out his strongest strength, that would be a dumb thing to do. It was normal that the distant Jiang City didn't know how terrifying 9 Bug Gang was. As members of 9 Bug Gang, naturally, they couldn't lose their reputation. Instantly, green veins popped up on the masked man's forehead. Then, a green mist spread out from his body. Kid, do you know that you will be eaten by bugs? Bugs are small, but sometimes you will never be able to imagine how terrifying they are. The masked man took out the mother bug by his waist and crushed it. The green liquid flowed into his palms. He then clasped his palms together and hollered. Pung pung. There were many small crawling sounds in the surrounding dark corners. Shortly after, a dense swarm of small bugs covered each other and attacked. The 2 of you offended a power that you can't afford to offend. No matter what the outcome is, you won't have a good ending. The masked man grinned. His smile was really dark and sunken. Feel the despair of being bitten by bugs. A dense cluster of bugs covered the entire street and then struck towards Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. On the contrary, the masked man's face was ashen white. This was a sign that he had used up too much energy. Cousin, be careful. Zhou Zhongmao wanted to block in front of cousin, but Lin Fan stopped him. It is okay, don't be nervous. Lin Fan was really calm and didn't panic at all. He stood there, the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique slowly spread out and instantly covered all the bug. Pooh! The masked man spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. He felt that his connection with the bugs was cut off. How did this happen? Lin Fan used the bug controlling technique to control the ants to steal grain. He felt that this was a good creative method. Now there were so many bugs here. He had never tried it before. He instantly controlled all the bugs here. With just a thought, he could order them to do anything. It was also really easy. He wasn't as weak as the masked man. He just played with a few bugs, and he was sweating profusely. How did this happen? The masked man panted heavily. He tried his best to control the bugs, but there was no movement at all. Suddenly, a shocking sentence spread into his ears. Do you have the awareness that you will be eaten by bugs? Lin Fan said. Damn. The masked man was furious. Why did you copy my words? I was the one who said those words. Just at that moment, the bugs gathered together and formed an 8-meter-tall human-shaped bug. The mouth of the human-shaped bug was formed from numerous bugs. How is that possible? When the masked man saw this, his eyes went blind. That was impossible. How could he control bugs? Impossible. Definitely impossible. The masked man panicked and didn't dare to believe it. The 8-meter-tall human-shaped bug got close to the masked man. Its mouth was made up of bugs, like it had no bones at all. It moved like waves. Lin Fan was waiting. Provide me with some rage points. Unfortunately, he didn't have any at all. How disappointing. Was it because he was scared silly by what he thought was impossible that his anger would completely disappear and be replaced by that kind of disbelief forever? Since that was the case, why waste time? The human-shaped bug slowly got close to the masked man like it was filled with disdain. It slowly raised its head. At that moment, it opened its mouth and swallowed the masked man. Save me. The other guy was so terrified that he peed his pants. How did such a terrifying thing appear in Jiang City? He couldn't run. He didn't run far before the human-shaped bug slapped him into meat paste. It is over. Lin Fan felt a little regretful. He didn't want to deal with the two of them so quickly. Instead, he wanted to have a good chat with them for rage points. However, he was disappointed. People who were terrified weren't worth mentioning at all. What was the 9-bug gang that he mentioned? It seemed to be related to bug-controlling techniques Insect Valley. Even his father didn't want to offend Insect Valley, but he killed 3 people who might be related to them. Was that a good idea? Forget it. Anyway, no one saw it. Why was he thinking so much? Cousin, let's go, Lin Fan said. The mastermind of the Jiang City bugs was killed, and Jiang City was safe once more. Oh, Zhou Zhongmao replied. He walked in front of Yang Fei. She wasn't dead yet. With a smacking sound, he twisted her neck. His expression didn't change at all. It was like he was doing something really normal. To Zhou Zhongmao, this was to cut off all future problems, to not leave any problems for his cousin. Zhou Zhongmao might look dumb, but he was really wary of some things. Returning to Martial Path Mountain, Lin Fan looked at the box in his hand. He got it from that woman. Those few people wanted to get back the thing in the box. He opened the box. Inside laid something that looked like an amber. He placed it in front of the light and looked at it carefully. There seemed to be something in the amber. It was small, but it was really clear. It was a bug with 9 heads. If one didn't look closely, one would think that the bug with 9 heads was dead. But if one looked closely, one would notice that the heart of the bug was beating slowly. The frequency was really slow. A living thing. To others, it was an important thing. To Lin Fan, it was just a mysterious thing. He pinched the amber with 2 fingers and slowly used strength. The amber didn't change at all. He slowly increased his strength. He couldn't even shatter such a small thing. That was really disappointing. Gotcha. The amber broke, and the bug inside landed on the table. Lin Fan opened his eyes wide and looked closely. He touched it with his fingers. What was this bug? It looked weird, but it was so small that it scared him. Maybe it was too weak. He could see the small bones and meridians in the bug's body. He had an idea. Lin Fan spread out the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique and wrapped it up. As expected, there was movement. The bug seemed to need this internal strength and was actually swallowing. However, it didn't take long before it stopped swallowing, as if it was full. That made sense. It was so small, so how much could it swallow? He looked for a while and didn't see anything worth being curious about. He placed the bug back into the box and closed it. The moment he closed the box, the bug woke up. The moment it stood up, it was smashed by the lid and fainted within. The next day, the first thing the commoners did when they woke up was to see whether or not the people around them died or to ask whether or not anyone died in the city. When they learned that no one died, they were so excited that they wanted to cry. On the streets where the battle happened last night, the commoners looked at the scenes in front of them with their mouths agape. The entire ground was covered in dead bugs. What the hell was going on? Where did so many dead insects come from? Could it be that those harmful insects were all killed? They didn't know what happened last night. But something huge definitely happened. If not, why would there be so many dead bug corpses? Cheers. They cheered excitedly. Chapter 151. Chun Manor. Chun Xingyao slept at home and didn't go anywhere. He was too lazy to head out. He really couldn't take it. The moment he went out he would be surrounded by commoners. You made it sound like he was a good person. He really didn't understand. Whether or not he was a good person, didn't they know? Or are you saying that when this young master bullied people in the past, you all became blind and didn't see it? Who knew how long passed? It was really noisy outside, like there were drums and gongs being beaten. Was there an end to it? Chun Xingyao couldn't take it anymore. He was afraid of them. He wouldn't head out. They actually came to disturb him. He was really impressed. King. Chun Xingyao pulled out his blade, kicking open the door and dashing out. Damn. He was going to fight it out with all of you bastard. In the past, only he bullied others. No one could bully him. Young Master. When Li Tsong saw Young Master walk out with a blade, he was shocked. What was going on? Who was Young Master going to kill with a blade? Chun Xingyao didn't bother about Li Tsong and just charged out in rage. Prince Shaoqi, you con me so badly. If I don't kill one or two today, my pride would be trampled by a bunch of commoners. However, when Chun Xingyao came outside, the situation outside was a little off. The commoners were dancing lions and celebrating. When they saw Chun Xingyao come out, they cheered. Young Master Chun is out! Young Master Chun, the commoners shouted. The gongs and gongs were beating continuously. It was obvious that they were celebrating something. Very quickly, Chun Xingyao was surrounded by the commoners. Young Master Chun, good job. The bugs are gone. They really are gone. No one died in Jiang City today, but many bugs died on the street. Young Master Chun, you are so amazing. The praises were endless. Chun Xingyao was stunned and felt that things were different from what he had expected. The key point was that no one died in the morning. The bugs were dealt with. Chun Xingyao couldn't react to the current situation. He was the overlord of Jiang City. He had killed people, beat people up, and done many weird things. But this was the first time in history. At that moment, a little girl walked in front of Chun Xingyao. As she was too short, she couldn't reach him. She pulled his sleeves and looked at him cutely. The people around them quietened down. Chun Xingyao lowered his head and looked at the little kid. Whose family was he from? He looked pretty good. After 7 or 8 years, he would be able to be his concubine. What does that mean? Why are you staring at me like that? Does he want me to squat down? Chun Xingyao squatted down. He wanted to see what this little girl wanted to do. Could it be that she dared to be presumptuous towards him, the little overlord of Jiangqing? The little lowly seemed a little shy, but she still plucked up her courage and kissed Chun Xingyao's cheek. You are a great hero. I like great heroes. Papa. The commoners applauded and began to beat gongs and drums in celebration. Chun Xingyao was a little confused. I'm the hero? Oh my God. No one had ever said that to him before. How am I a hero? I've killed people, I've beaten people, I've done all kinds of bad things. When I'm unhappy, I'll take your life. Now, there's a little girl saying that I'm a great hero? Chen Xingyao stood there in a daze, not knowing what to do. Could he say that this was actually a misunderstanding? He really wasn't a hero. Actually, I am Jiang City's little overlord, a bad guy who has done all sorts of bad things. Manager Yu stood not far away and listened. His young master was actually called a hero. Old master, did you hear that? Our Chun family has cleaned up. We will start from young master. He is actually loved by the people. Old master, open the coffin and take a look. If such a violent person like young master can be called a hero, then someone like you who hides a knife in your smile will definitely be called a saint. Guys, please listen to me. Manager Yu waved his hands and shouted at the top of his lungs. The commoners quietened down and looked at Manager Yu quietly. My young master cares about the safety of Jiang City, so he didn't sleep last night to help all of you solve the bug problem. Did all of you see that my young master hasn't even put down his blade? Another manager hollered. Chen Xingyao nodded his head. He raised the blade in his hand and waved it. What welcomed him was a round of praises from the commoners. Wait. Chen Xingyao felt that something wasn't right. Since you said that, then how was he supposed to tell the commoners about the Marshall Path Mountain Protection Guild? It was okay that he was conned by the prince once, but now even his own manager wanted to do the same to him. That was just too much. But with the current situation, even if he felt bitter, he had to face it with a smile. Let's disperse. I am too tired today, so I need to rest, Chen Xingyao said. Some commoners led the way to leave. They wanted to keep quiet and let young master rest. Very quickly, Chen Xingyao returned to the manor. I just want to ask why you said that. Do you know that if you say that, then I will have to fork out the money myself? Manager Yu was stunned. Young master's words made sense, but he definitely couldn't admit it. Young master, listen to my analysis. How do you feel today? Did you notice that the commoners love Chen family? Manager Yu asked. Chen Xingyao nodded his head. That was indeed the case. No matter what, he was still the overlord of Jiang City. However, after today, he had to restrain himself. However, no matter what, he was still the overlord of Jiang City. Manager Yu said, after this matter, it will be of great help to the Chen family in the future. Apart from the wolf brigade that was wiped out by Old Master, the rest are for the commoners. Now that this has happened, the commoners will definitely buy things from the Chen family. This is a huge blow to the other merchants. And that makes sense. Chen Xingyao nodded his head in agreement. However, when he thought about the 48,000 silver, his heart hurt a little. Send 48,000 silver to Marshall Path Mountain. Chen Xingyao told Manager Yu to send the money over. He had to find those merchants. No matter what, he had to let them acknowledge it. He couldn't let him shoulder it alone, right? He understood that the bird that poked its head out would be shot. If one couldn't sit still, then he would be the one to suffer. It was like a gathering for a meal. In the end, the entire place was silent, waiting for someone to get up and pay the bill before it ended. Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan and the others were eating. Cousin, eat more. If you eat so little, you won't grow fat, Lin Fan said. Understood, cousin. Zhou Zhongmao carried the wooden bucket and gulped it into his mouth. Zhang Tianshan and the others were envious when they saw that. Every day from morning onwards they would eat so much that they would drool. Sect Leader Lin, my young master sent this over. Manager Yu walked in and passed the bills to Lin Fan. Damn. Zhang Tianshan didn't notice at the start, but when he saw what it was, an eye-catching glow exploded in his eyes. Bills. A thick stack of bills. And not bad. Lin Fan kept the bills and continued to eat. Manager Yu sent the money over and silently retreated. Chen family and Marshall Path Mountain's relationship wasn't as good as he thought. They just worked together and took what they needed. Zhang Tianshan asked, Sect Leader, this is? Nothing, let's eat. Lin Fan waved his hands calmly. Why did he ask so much? Apart from money, what else could it be? He was able to live so comfortably now because he bought it with money. Zhang Tianshan couldn't eat at ease. So much money flashed in front of his eyes, so how could he eat? He estimated that there were at least tens of thousands of silver. That was Chen family's manager Yu. Why would he send money over? What is this thing? Pa! At that moment, Liang Yongqi exclaimed and smacked the table. He was eating well, and suddenly a small thing ran onto the table. He thought that it was a spider, so he couldn't help but smack it. Wait. Lin Fan picked up the bug that Liang Yongqi smacked. Wasn't this the thing he brought back last night? Wasn't it placed in a box? How did it come out? This. What is this? Liang Yongqi asked in fear. Since he was frightened by the Yin demons, he was much more timid. Nothing, just a normal bug. Lin Fan picked it up and shook it a few times to see whether or not it was still breathing. He didn't want it to die from one slap. That would be too useless. Zhang Tianshan stared at the nine-headed bug and his expression turned solemn. He then said, Sect leader, this bug is useless, why don't we throw it away? It is okay. This is the first time I have seen a nine-headed bug, it is worth studying. Lin Fan was really interested in the nine-headed bug. He had grown so much in his life, but he had never seen such a bug before. Moreover, this nine-headed bug was really firm. After Liang Yongqi smacked it, it didn't explode. Its small body contained huge strength. The nine-headed bug laid on the table and didn't move at all. Zhang Tianshan had something to say to Lin Fan, but the current situation wasn't suitable. Breakfast ended. Kid, let me ask you solemnly, did you meet people from Insect Valley? Zhang Tianshan pulled Lin Fan to the side and asked. Lin Fan wanted to say that he had to call him sect leader, but looking at Zhang Tianshan's solemn expression, he knew that he was serious. I didn't meet Insect Valley, so they called themselves Nine Bug Gang. Zhang Tianshan thought about it and was stunned. This is a gang within Insect Valley's territory, so why did they come to Jiang City? Did you have any dealings with them? I didn't, I just killed them, Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan was stunned. He was actually speechless and didn't know what to say. He pulled Lin Fan and said solemnly, Remember, don't tell anyone about this. Although Insect Valley has closed, the power within their territory is still strong. If you are targeted, there will be a bloodbath. I suggest we wipe out that bug, don't let it live. Even if we keep it, we can't expose it before we are strong enough. Zhang Tianshan didn't want Lin Fan to have anything to do with Insect Valley, at least not now. Lin Fan patted Zhang Tianshan's shoulder. You are so solemn, I am not used to it. Don't worry, I know what I am doing. He definitely knew what he was doing. Although his bug controlling technique was weak and couldn't compare to the bug controlling technique, at least that meant that it had something to do with Insect Valley. When he was in U City, his father found out that he was cultivating the bug controlling technique, so he destroyed the internal strength he used to cultivate it. That was enough to show that Insect Valley couldn't be underestimated. But his father was his father. Zhang Tianshan was Zhang Tianshan. He represented himself. What they couldn't do in the past didn't mean that he couldn't. Chapter 152. Zhang Tianshan dissed in his heart. What did he know? He just hoped that he wouldn't be noticed so quickly. Why would people from Nine Bug Gang appear in Jiang City? Were they sick in the head? They could go anywhere, but they had to come to Jiang City. Courtyard. Lin Fan felt that life was a form of comprehension, a form of enjoyment. What he lacked in the last life, he would have in this life. His assets had reached 200,000, close to 300,000 silver. This was a huge sum. No matter where he went, he would be able to live comfortably. Not many people knew about this money. Especially Zhang Tianshan and the others. He definitely wouldn't let them know. The nine-headed bug, who fainted on the table, shook its head and slowly woke up. Its head hurt like someone had struck it. However, that wasn't a problem. He had to find Master. The nine-headed bug landed on the ground with 2 limbs and 3 claws on the sides of its stomach. Its 9 heads stretched out as it walked to the edge of the table. Its 18 eyes looked at the ground. It was a little high. Who cared? The nine-headed bug jumped off from the table and fell from the sky. A whistling wind blew past his ears. Puff! Its head fell to the ground and it directly fainted. Tragic. After a long while, the nine-headed bug shook its head and woke up once more. It then ran towards the door with its short legs. It sensed that Master's aura was really close to it. Brother Liang, wait, I have something to tell you. Yuan Tianshu saw Liang Yongqi being busy at Martial Path Mountain and felt like he should remind him. If he said too much, it would be too obvious. However, he had a responsibility to care for people who weren't smart enough. Yuan Tianshu didn't see the little thing running on the ground and stepped on it. He didn't care and walked beside Liang Yongqi. Follow me. The nine-headed bug rolled its eyes and fainted once more. It was too small, so small that it couldn't be ignored. What? Liang Yongqi asked. Yuan Tianshu thought about it and said, Do you know that you have fallen into someone's trap? Liang Yongqi blinked. What did he mean? He really didn't understand what he was saying. Looking at Liang Yongqi's expression, one could see that he didn't sense the problem at all. One would be marked by the company one kept. If he could understand, then he wouldn't be Liang Yongqi and wouldn't be the abandoned kid chased out of the family. IQ decides everything. Yuan Tianshu felt that he was smart enough to fight Lin Fan and Zhang Tianshan and not be at a disadvantage. Recently you have been really close to Zhang Tianshan. I think you shouldn't be fooled. He isn't a simple person. He predicted that you would face danger when you left Martial Path Mountain. He wanted to save you when you were in danger so that you would be grateful and follow him wholeheartedly. I suggest that you stay with me and don't ask too many questions. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to escape in the future. Yuan Tianshu said it as if it was true. TSK crazy. Liang Yongji glanced at him. Brother Yuan, let me tell you, you're really thinking too much. Moreover, I feel like you're going to hallucinate soon. If you can't take it, you should take a good rest. I left Martial Path Mountain on my own. Deputy Sect Leader Zhang came to save me, but I didn't see you. Do you see what this is? Deputy Sect Leader Zhang said that my performance was not bad, so he gave me a profound martial arts secret manual. I still have to go back and study it, so I can't talk to you anymore. Liang Yongji left without looking back. To him, Yuan Tianshu's illness wasn't light. He slowly accepted Zhang Tianshan. During this period of time, he felt that this person was decent and treated him well. He felt like he was being cared for by a father. I am telling the truth, Yuan Tianshu shouted. However, Liang Yongji didn't listen and walked into the distance. Kiki. Yuan Tianshu shook his head helplessly. It was just too difficult to communicate with people who weren't smart. In this power struggle for the position of the sect leader, he was just a spectator. He wanted to see who would have the last laugh. You, Lin Fan. Or you, Zhang Tianshan. In the courtyard, Lin Fan felt his hands itch. He opened his eyes and noticed the nine-headed bug lying on the back of his hand. Its 9 heads rubbed against the back of his hand. If he didn't notice, if he treated it like a fly, he would slap it and it would really die. Lin Fan picked up the 9-headed bug. You little bug, you are a little bold. The 9-headed bug woke up and was really intimate with him. This was the treasure that the 4 of them fought for? His brain had problems. He really didn't see anything special about the bug. Refresh. He gathered the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique at his fingertips to see what was going on with the bug. Instantly, he noticed that the 9-headed bug's 9 heads opened their mouths and sucked. A weak suction force spread out from the 9 heads. The special internal strength of the bug controlling technique flew uncontrollably towards the nine-headed bug's mouth. Amazing. Lin Fan wanted to play around. Go Z was a little nervous. Why was there such a weird bug? He had raised the bug controlling technique to the highest realm, and the quality of his internal strength was really high. Not long later, the suction force disappeared. The nine-headed bug seemed like it was full and burped. It ended just like that? The duration was just too short. After the nine-headed bug was full, it laid on the back of Lin Fan's hand and rubbed against it like it was really happy. Go Z, our Martial Path Mountain is going to have a new member. Go make a fence on that empty land. Don't be too big and build a nest, Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan didn't want to keep the nine-headed bug. This meant that the nine-headed bug was amazing. Any mysterious thing could make him curious. Before he understood the nine-headed bug, he wouldn't abandon it. Yes, young master. Go Z immediately went to work. The nine-headed bug seemed to understand Lin Fan's words, jumping happily on the back of Lin Fan's hand. When night was about to fall, the happy nine-headed bug was unable to maintain its happiness. It even panicked a little. In the future, this will be your nest. Stay here, I will raise you until you are white and fat. Lin Fan placed the nine-headed bug down. This nest was made well, it was made of wood, and there was a small room inside. The room was covered in a comfortable cushion. The bowls for drinking water and eating food were all there. Looking at the design, it looked like he was raising a dog. The nine-headed bug's small body stood inside like it was stunned. It didn't expect that it would receive such treatment. Perfect, really perfect. Go back to sleep. Lin Fan felt that Martial Path Mountain was developing in the direction that he wanted it to be. Money was flowing in, the environment was comfortable, and he had a pet to look after the house. Zhang Tianshan looked at the nine-headed bug. He knew that a treasure that nine-bug gang had high hopes for was extraordinary, but he didn't expect that kid to treat it so casually. He wanted to tell the bug that it followed the wrong person. That night, in the dark forest of Wolf Brigade, numerous demons surged out. One of them was covered in muscles, and it was 3 meters tall. It carried a stone steel, and led the demon army towards Martial Path Mountain. A dark aura covered the night sky. Beneath Martial Path Mountain, many pairs of red eyes stared at Martial Path Mountain. The light on the mountain made them hate it. Numerous demons climbed and roared out. Terrifying roars spread out in the air, gathering together to form a terrifying sound. They came to find Martial Path Mountain. They were furious. Demons were furious too. However, they didn't know who was the one who insulted them. Anyway, they couldn't swallow this anger. Move aside. The new big demon's voice was low and hoarse. He raised the stone steel on his shoulder and smashed it towards Martial Path Mountain. He then hollered in rage, "Human, we demons won't let this matter rest." His voice was really loud. Only demons ate humans, so no humans could bully them. However, the situation changed. There were really humans who came to bully them. Could they take it? They could, but they couldn't. Ah! The big demon roared crazily towards Martial Path Mountain. His roar was really loud, forming a white energy wave. It was like a shock wave exploded out from his mouth. It was shocking and gave off a strong aura. The big demon didn't shut up. He wanted to use his roar to pierce through Martial Path Mountain and blow it up. However, he knew that it was just a dream. His voice wasn't that strong. If it was, then he wouldn't just be the big demon, but the king of the demons. When the surrounding demons saw how domineering the big demon was, they worshipped him. This was the image of the big demon in their hearts. He didn't fear anything. He dared to use his roar to shock everyone. It was enough for them to call him Big Brother. The next day, Go Z carried the washing tools in and helped young master get up. Go Z, did you hear dogs barking for a long time last night? Lin Fan asked. Did I? Go Z was curious. He didn't hear it last night. It should be. Last night, Lin Fan slept very soundly, and he vaguely heard some sounds. However, he wasn't too sure. Anyway, it didn't affect his sleep, so he didn't ask. Suddenly, Zhang Tianshan walked in. His expression was solemn. Sect leader, take a look. Last night, a stone stele appeared on Martial Path Mountain. Stone stele? Outside. Lin Fan looked at the stone stele in front of him. The words on it were really exquisite and extraordinary. If one didn't look closely, one wouldn't be able to recognize what was written. Truthfully, he really didn't understand it. Zhang Tianshan looked carefully and muttered, "Dog? Humans, demons aren't something we can deal with. No, you all can deal with them. Tonight we will meet at XX. Oh, I understand. The demons want to meet you. However, I really can't recognize the location." It was really tough for Zhang Tianshan to recognize the demon's words. Crazy, not sleeping at night to fight them one-on-one. Are they sick in the head? If they are sick, then let them play. I am too lazy to bother. Lin Fan didn't want to bother with these demons. It was like their brains weren't developed. How old were they to fight one-on-one? Moreover, it was at night. If they had the ability, then do it in the day, when the sun shone high in the sky and one was full of energy. Moreover, they were just uncultured. One couldn't even recognize their words, so how was he going to find them? Go Z, is breakfast ready? Open the pot and make some porridge for that bug. Don't let it starve. It wasn't easy for Lin Fan to think about those 9 bugs. After all, they were just too small. They could be ignored. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.